barely contain myself. And this is Gavel to Gavel, WCBW-TV's complete coverage of Richmond City Council. Good evening once again. I'm Jack Harmon. Welcome to our first meeting of the month of April. And a beautiful spring day has finally come to Richmond. And what's it going to be like in here tonight? Well, we have 6 items on the consent agenda, 10 appointments and reappointments, 4 items on the regular agenda, and 24 budget items. That's a total of 44, but that's all going to change. So let's take a look at what's going to be and what's not going to be tonight. Starting off with the consent agenda, item number 1, ordinance 2012-232. This is the one that makes it unlawful for a person to attach a bicycle, motorcycle, or moped to a city-owned tree, etc. The paper has been withdrawn. Item number 2, ordinance 2013-10. And this is adopting personnel rules for classified service for classified employees. That's been continued until May 13th. Item number 3, ordinance 2013-12. This is one that concerns parking violations and penalties. It was saying you had to be no more than 12 inches from the curb when you park. Now it's been amended to 18 inches, but they're going to move that item to the regular agenda because there is some discussion that's going to take place on that. Item number 4, ordinance 2013-44, and this is removing this is basically what it's going to do is if you are parking in front of a ramp leading to a crosswalk constructed for the use of handicapped persons, it was a $40 fine, and as near as I can tell in reading this paper, that's going to go up to a $200 fine, and that paper will stay on consent agenda. Item 5, ordinance 2013-45. This is provides the conduct of criminal history and other background checks for applicants, employees, and volunteers in certain positions. That stays on consent agenda. As does item number 6, ordinance 2013-46, and that's modifying general pay ranges for food service managers, juvenile home registered nurse, and unclassified service classification of detention home superintendent. This does not automatically give people raises. It just increases the pay ranges. That stays on consent. Now, we have appointments and reappointments. Let's just run through those quickly here. Lana Pennington, member of Career and Technical Education Commission. Keith Funk, member of Audit Committee. Christopher Catanzaro, Urban Forestry Commission. Janine Lester, member of Urban Forestry Commission. Kevin White, Central Virginia Waste Management Authority. This one, Jim Hatcher, member of Business Professional Occupational License Task Force. That one's going to be continued until our next meeting on the 22nd. Then we have Tom Innes, Business Professional Occupational License Task Force. D. Calloway Whitehead III, same task force. Cheryl C. James, this is the only reappointment, member of the Minority Business Enterprise and Emerging Small Business Advisory Loan. And also removing, here's where Linda G. Brody Myers, leaving the as Director of GRTC, and nominating George Braxton to fill the vacancy there. Those are all the appointments, reappointments. Regular agenda. Item 17, Ordinance 2012-168. This is a special use at 2501 Monument Avenue. This one's been going on for quite some time for the purpose of museum, for architecture, outdoor events, etc. Anyhow, this paper is no longer around. It's been withdrawn by request, so that paper is no longer going to be on the agenda. Item 18, Ordinance 2013-47, and this is to amend and reordain the city code concerning permitted accessory uses and structures in R1 single-family residential district. This is for the purpose of including the raising or keeping of no more than 4 female chickens as a permitted accessory use. That stays on regular agenda. Item 19, public necessity for the acquisition of parcels of real property owned by Richmond Metropolitan Authority at 7 Cutshaw and 16 South Colonial for the purpose of public parking, and that stays on the regular agenda. And the other item is item number 20, Resolution 2013-R47. This is reversing the decision. This is back to the vinyl windows at 2916 Monument Avenue. It looks as though both sides are getting closer to a resolution of this problem, and that paper, therefore, is being continued until the 22nd of April. So there you have that. Now, budget-related papers. There's going to be no vote on the budget tonight, but there will be a budget public hearing. Now, exactly where in the agenda it's going to be, I don't know. They have not told us yet, and we don't know how many people are down here to speak to the budget, but I have been told there will be an additional budget hearing after a lot of the amendments, etc., are done, but that we have not heard anything definite with yet. But there are 24 papers here. Let's see, adopting the general fund budget is one paper. Ordaining fees. Salary supplements for the sheriff's office, fees for water service, special fund budgets, gas service fees. Let's see, stormwater utility budget has to be approved, the electric utility budget, the Department of Public Utility Stores internal service budget, charges for recycling by the city, water utility budget, gas utility budget, and on and on. So 24 papers in all, making up the budget for this year, and they will be having a public hearing on the budget tonight, but there will not be any vote being taken on tonight's budget. So that's what the agenda looks like tonight. We only have one speaker on citizens' comment period. So basically what it boils down to, we had 6 items on consent agenda. We now have 3. We had 10 appointments. One's being continued, so that's down to 9. Regular agenda, we had 4 papers. 1 got moved onto it from consent. 2, one's withdrawn, one's continued. We're down to 3 there. And then we have the budget papers. The hearing will be tonight, and then we'll continue all those papers until the 22nd of April. 1 speaker tonight in Citizens' Comment Period to talk about constitutional rights. Formal awards and recognitions. One of them tonight is posthumously awarding something to Charles Peters, and if you never knew Charles Peters, you missed meeting a very fantastic gentleman. He was, well, what else can you say? He was served on the city, served the city, even when he retired, he served the city. And as the presentation says, it recognizes, honors, and celebrates the life, works, and memory and legacy of Charles Taft Peters, Jr., and his commitment to helping make Richmond an even better place to live, work, love, learn, play, visit, and raise a family. And he did all those. Also a very avid motorcyclist. And I happened to get to know Charles a little bit better when I was working for the State Fair of Virginia, and his group was going to go on a charity ride, and the fair was open, and they wanted a place to assemble and have breakfast and then head on. So he called me, and we were able to arrange for his group to get over and have breakfast at the State Fairgrounds before the fair opened that day, and then take off on their trip to raise money for charity. So that's where I got to know Charles a lot better. Also, it'll be a proclamation of Richmond Child Abuse Prevention Month, one concerning Richmond Facial Hair Appreciation Month. And those of us who cannot grow a beard, I'm very jealous of that one. And then we have got the official recognition to recognize, honor, and celebrate Richmond Public Schools' John Marshall High School boys varsity basketball team for their hard work and success in the 2012-2013 season. So that's the way it looks tonight. With the budget hearing, we have no idea how many people are going to be talking, when exactly that hearing is going to be taking place. So it could be a few people. It could be a lot of people. We've seen as few as 15. We've seen as many as 150. We just don't know until we get started. We'll be doing that in just a few minutes from now. So I'm Dick Harmon. Stay tuned.
Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:59. If members of council would begin their ascent to the dais, I would greatly appreciate it. Because it's 6 o'clock, I'd like to get this meeting beginning. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Jones has informed me it's 2 minutes after 6, so I need to get this meeting started. I see that the majority of council is already up here. I would therefore like to call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Richmond City Council to order. We will begin as we do every council meeting with standing for invocation. We will immediately follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Today, it's Reverend Keith Johnston of Forest Hill Presbyterian Church who will lead us in our invocation. If we could all please rise.
Let us pray. Loving and just God of all nations and people, we thank you for our city and the stunning James River. We're grateful for the diversity of the people of Richmond, asking you lead us to be more respectful of all those created in your image. Lord, who knows us each by name, watch over the individuals of our city, especially the poor and lonely, and our children, our future. Tonight, we ask your guidance for our mayor and city council and all the citizens who have gathered. Give one and all ears to listen, open minds to seek to understand complex issues, and generous and wise hearts to decide matters facing our city. Especially guide the budget discussions, and Lord of all creation, bless even the chickens, whether they stay or go. We do ask your care and protection for all those who serve our city, and especially our firefighters and police officers tonight. Lord Almighty, may we honor you by our actions for those in greatest need, and by our love and respect for all people. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please provide those in attendance tonight with the Chamber Emergency Evacuation Plan announcement and citizen speaker guidelines?
Upon activation of the emergency alarm systems, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exit to the left and right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairway outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed to the assembly area located in the parking lot bounded by Clay 8th and 9th Streets. Citizens and employees should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'd like to do the action on appointments and reappointments, but first I believe we need to do an expedited paper to address those. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
That is, would you like for the guidelines to be read for speakers?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay.
Citizen wishing to speak during public hearing or citizen comment period generally has 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demean any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the President of Council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time and future disciplinary actions as necessary, which include barring from attending future meeting of City Council for the period of 6 months.
Mr. President, for the record, all members of council are in attendance this evening.
Thank you. And now may we please do the expedited papers for appointments and reappointments.
Mr. President, there are 3 papers for expedited consideration. They are resolution number 2013 R100, and that's to appoint Gerald W. S. Carter as a member of the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. Resolution number 2013 R102, and that's to appoint Mark A. Herzog as a member of the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. And last is resolution number 2013 R102, and that's to appoint Charles S. McFarland as a member of the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. They're present. I need a motion to expedite these papers. Ms. Graziano, can I get a motion for expedited consideration on the papers as read?
So moved.
Council is now voting on the motion to expedite the following papers, resolution number 2013 R101, R100, 101, and 102. Mr. Beliles? Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
President Robertson? Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Algelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
And President Samuels?
Aye.
Those papers are before council.
Thank you very much. Now that these papers are before us, this will put enough folks on, in addition to those whose papers were introduced at the last meeting, that the B-poll task can begin to meet, and I'll be reaching out to those who've been appointed to that board to find an initial meeting time. I want to thank everybody on the B-poll task force who's willing to do this. Madam Clerk, if it's possible to do this all at once, I'd like to now take care of the other appointments now that these papers are before us so we can have one vote on everything.
Yes, and will the other 3 members that I called, will they please stand first? Mr. McFarland, if you would please stand. Mr. Herzog and Mr. Carter. All right, the other appointments are items number 7, resolution, and as I recall this, if you would please stand. Item number 7, resolution number 2013 R67, and that's to appoint Lena R. Pickington to the Career and Technical Education Commission. Pennington? Okay, item number 8, resolution number 2013 R89, and that's to appoint Kevin J. Funk to the Audit Committee. Mr. Funk? Okay. Item number 9, resolution number 2013 R90, and that's to appoint Christopher J. Catanzaro to the Urban Forestry Commission. Item number 10, resolution number 2013 R91, and that's to appoint Janine Lester to the Urban Forestry Commission. Mr. Jean, okay. Item number 11, resolution number 2013 R92, and that's to appoint Kevin A. White to the Central Virginia Waste Management Authority. Item number 12 will be continued later this evening. Item number 13, resolution number 2013 R94, and that's to appoint Thomas N. Innes to the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. Item number 14, and that's to appoint D. Callaway Whitehead III to the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. Item number 15, resolution number 2013 R96, and that's to reappoint Charles C. James to the Minority Business, Enterprise, and Emerging Small Business Advisory Board. And last is item number 16, resolution number 2013 R97, and that's to remove Linda Brody Meyer and to nominate George P. Braxton as the director of the Greater Richmond Transit Company. Okay, those papers are before you.
Thank you very much. I just want to make sure, is Mr. James here? If you wave your hand if you're Mr. James. I just didn't see anyone stand when that name was read.
Mr. James does not need to be here this evening, Mr. President.
Very good. That's absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you all again. As soon as the vote is taken, if you would step out into the clerk's office to be sworn in, we'd greatly appreciate it. We appreciate your service. At this point, are there any of those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in support or in opposition to any of these folks?
Good evening. My name's Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. I'd like to speak in opposition to the appointment of Charles S. McFarland. He's a rich person, a very rich person. He also sits on the airport commission. He's also part of the consortium that owns like 130 or 140 properties in Manchester. And he's being appointed to the Business, Professional, and Occupation License Task Force. I think rich people have too much influence in our government. They buy our politicians. They serve on important boards such as this one that determine city and governmental policy. So I don't know about all these other individuals who are being appointed. There may be other wealthy individuals, but I know Charles S. McFarland is a wealthy individual. He's already serving on the airport commission. I don't know if he still serves in that capacity, but I know he did several years ago. But that's the basis of my opposition. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Mr. Persinger. Anyone else to speak in favor or opposition? Seeing none, bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, would you please call the question, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Council, you're now voting on the expedited papers, resolution number 2013 R101, 100 through 102, and appointments items number 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14, 15 through 16. Mr. Balaus? Aye. Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Algelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
And President Samuels?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for your willingness to serve in these positions. If you'll step out to the back to the clerk's office, you'll be sworn in. At this point, we usually go to awards and presentations. However, one of the awards will necessitate an expedited resolution first. And Madam Clerk, if you would be so kind to lead us through that issue.
Yes, that would be resolution number 2013-R99 to memorialize and honor Charles Taft Peters, Jr. for his dedication and service as a Richmond community leader and his many other contributions as a citizen of the city of Richmond. I will need a motion for expedited consideration of that paper.
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Council is voting on expedited consideration of resolution 2013-R99. Mr. Balaus?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill? Aye. President Samuels?
Aye.
The paper is before you for consideration.
Thank you very much. Are there those that wish to speak in opposition or support to this paper in the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for any discussion. Mr. Blouse, do you want to say something? As you were the, very good. All right. Any other discussion by council? Madam Clerk, would you please call the question?
Council is voting on resolution number 2013-R99. Mr. Blouse? Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill? Aye. President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. Congratulations. At this point, I'd like to move on to the normal awards and recognitions docket. And the first one is for Mr. Charles Taft Peters from Mr. Blouse and the mayor.
Yes. Tonight's first recognition being presented by Councilor Jonathan Blouse and Mayor Dwight C. Jones celebrates the life of Charles Taft Peters, Jr. Present to receive the recognition is the family of Mr. Peters. The Honorable Dwight C. Jones, Mayor of Richmond, and the honorable members of Richmond City Council hereby recognize, honor, and celebrate the life, work, memory, and legacy of Mr. Charles Taft Peters, Jr., who passed away on January 29, 2013. Considered by many to be an active Richmond Goodwill ambassador on behalf of our community, Mr. Peters lived a life of purpose, committed to the betterment of all mankind and embodying the finest in aspiration and deed that our humanity has to offer. A resident of Richmond for more than 40 years, Mr. Peters was much beloved by all who knew him and was said to have never met a stranger. Joining the Richmond Department of Planning and Community Development in 1972, Mr. Peters rose to serve as a department's director, retiring in 1997 after a quarter century of service. Some of the projects that he worked on included the Greater Richmond Convention Center and restorations of the Richmond Canal System and Richmond Riverfront. A man of integrity, Mr. Peters earned a solid and well-deserved reputation by his caring professionalism and lifelong dedication to public and community service. As further testament to his commitment, Mr. Peters volunteered for many nonprofit organizations and served on numerous local civic boards. This included being a founding member of the Better Housing Coalition, a trustee of the Historic Richmond Foundation, and chairman of city celebrations. Mr. Peters led a life of meaning and dedication, and he leaves deep footprints and a noble legacy for all to remember and emulate. Our community is a much better place due to his kind attention, and he will long be remembered for many generations to come.
I think that the proclamation says it all, and we certainly want to take this moment to remember and to indelibly imprint upon all of our minds and memories the wonderful contribution that Charles Peters made. He was a big man in stature, but he was also big in terms of his commitment to the city of Richmond. 25 years of service. He was a staple around our boardroom tables. He was a person who believed in the city of Richmond and believed in the responsible growth of the city of Richmond. And for as long as I can remember, he was always doing positive things for our city. He was concerned about protecting the James River, concerned about preserving Richmond's history. He was interested in equal housing opportunities and early childhood development, just to name a few. And so tonight, I just wanted to be here to say to you how much he meant to the city of Richmond, and we want very much for his legacy to be a part of our history, and so we honor him tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo the proclamation and the mayor's words as well. I've known the Peters since I was a child, and they have always had an influence upon my life. And Charles was the type of person who not only gave for 25 years in this building, but he's given just as much since he retired in 1997. And he was always willing to help without question and give you genuine, honest, earnest advice, which people knew to accept because they knew that Charles loved the city as much as probably anyone. And he will be sorely missed. And on a very personal note, on election night, as the sun went down, as well as the temperature, Charles and Cherry Peters stood outside the poll with me and shook hands and asked for votes, and I would not be here without them. And the hole that Richmond now feels with Charles's passing is outweighed only by the impact that he has on the city that will endure for decades. Congratulations.
My goodness. Charles, I think, would be amazed at this reception. It was very, very gracious of you all. He just kind of saw himself as going through life and doing his thing. And I don't think he ever gave a moment's thought to any impact that he might have outside of helping guide decisions, but not his impact. He was interested in what was good for the city. It was a privilege to get to watch him in action, but this is very, very special, and Trey and I thank you so much for it. It means the world to me. Thank you.
I'd just like to echo my mother's sentiment and to thank everybody here in the City Council chambers, Your Honor, for your very kind words. This building meant a lot to Dad. He truly believed in serving the city, and to hear him remembered so fondly and missed so earnestly, I'm certain would touch his heart, and I just can't say thank you more than I have already. Thank you very much.
Our next recognition, being presented by President Charles Samuels and Mayor Dwight C. Jones, proclaims April 2013 as Richmond Child Abuse Prevention Month. Present to receive the recognition is Ian Danielson of Greater Richmond SCAN. The Honorable Dwight C. Jones, Mayor of Richmond, and the honorable members of Richmond City Council hereby unite to declare that children and youth are one of our community's most precious resources. The care, education, health, safety, and well-being of children is critical to the foundation of progressive society and serves as identifying measures of its viability and success. Child abuse threatens the present and future achievement of our children, youth, families, community, and society due to its profound negative, long-lasting social and economical consequences. Parents have the most important influence on a child's physical, emotional, and developmental needs in helping them to mature into happy, healthy, whole, and thriving adults. In 1983, the United States of America, Congress requested and a presidential proclamation established April to be National Child Abuse Prevention Month in the United States of America. In recognition of National Child Abuse Prevention Month and in order to bring additional awareness to the issues, support children, and thank those working to fight against child abuse, Richmond City Council and Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby proclaim the month of April 2013 as Richmond Child Abuse Prevention Month and call this observance to the attention of all of our residents.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I want to thank you guys at SCAN for the work that you do. For those of you who don't know, I also act as a guardian ad litem for at-risk youth in the city and some of the surrounding counties. And it's unbelievable, the stories you hear about what children have to go through. The only thing that makes it even more incredible is the resiliency that children have and their ability to come out of some horrible situations strong and resilient and, most importantly, intact, thanks in large part to groups like SCAN. I can't really say enough about what it means to watch a child over several years grow from a position of terror to self-confidence. And in large part, it's thanks to the educational programs and additional services that you provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words.
I'd like to add my voice and support to the Richmond Child Abuse Prevention Month and to let you know that we certainly do appreciate all that you do. We love our children in the city of Richmond, We're going through the budget process now, and you'll see the dollars that are being assigned to making sure that they're well cared for, educated, and taken care of. It's unconscionable that we would even have to have a group like this. But because there are things in the world that are not to our liking, it's necessary for people to stand up and do the right thing. One abused child is one child too many. And so we've got to work hard to make sure that we turn that situation around. So we thank you once again for what you do, and we're very proud to sign on to this Richmond Child Abuse Prevention Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have a word.
Thank you very much. If I could be permitted a quick word. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, distinguished members of council. On behalf of Greater Richmond SCAN and the Richmond community, I gratefully accept this conscientiously crafted proclamation declaring April Child Abuse Prevention Month. As the proclamation states, protecting children is the responsibility of every adult, not just because children are our future, but because they need us today, as they have no choice but to live within our structures and systems. As we adults collectively claim the title of being a civilized society, in so doing, we bear the onus of ensuring safe spaces to prevent harm and guaranteeing a wise system of response when they are harmed. Former Alabama Congressman Bud Kramer declared in the 1980s, "The system is broken. We are the system. Therefore, we can fix the system." Certainly from the point of view of children, all adults around them are the system. Fortunately for Richmond City's kids, in large part, the system is not, in fact, broken. We have improved systems of response. We have improved legislation. We have empowered more kids to tell when they are harmed, and we are more willing to report abuse ourselves. So while the system is improved, it needs tremendous additional improvement. So for all that is yet to be done, this is a respectful challenge to all of us that we continue to take on that mantle so that we are beyond a fine work in progress, but a place where our kids can safely be their own fine works in progress. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for this proclamation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Our next recognition being presented by Vice President Ellen Robertson and Councilor Parker Agelasto proclaims April 2013 as Richmond Facial Hair Appreciation Month. Present to receive the recognition are members of the RVA Beard League. The honorable members of Richmond City Council hereby unite to recognize, honor, and celebrate the RVA Beard League. Founded on June 7, 2011, the RVA Beard League, a social club that was established to bring together Richmond residents in celebrating facial hair. The RVA Beard League works to encourage the transition, promote appreciation, and increase respect for facial hair in its all forms through community volunteer work, charity fundraising, and camaraderie. The RVA Beard League is open to everyone, both men and women, with or without facial hair, and includes more than 75 registered members. The RVA Beard League supports numerous events throughout the year, and in 2012 helped celebrate the 3rd annual Southeastern Beard and Mustache Championship held in Charleston, South Carolina, which raised more than $5,000 for ovarian cancer research. The RVA Beard League is hosting the 2nd Mid-Atlantic Beard and Stash Competition at the Canal Club in Richmond, Virginia on April 27, 2013, and currently has more than 600 registered participants. Proceeds from the RVA Beard League 2nd Mid-Atlantic Beard and Stash Competition will go to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Richmond and Tri-Cities. Richmond City Council acknowledges the charity work of the RVA Beard League and promotes its generosity in giving to worthy causes and providing volunteer services.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, members of Richmond City Council. I am honored to be a part of this opportunity to step out of my box a little bit when I was asked to by this organization to come forward and share with the city of Richmond the wonderful works that they are doing. I must say I was a little hesitant. I was like, let's be sure about this. And we did a lot of research. We had an opportunity to talk to these fine people. And we're proud of the wonderful work that you're doing as an organization. From a presentation that we just saw, where we're recognizing April as a month for child abuse prevention. And later on this month, we will recognize an organization for providing affordable housing. Today, we are providing an opportunity to recognize you as an organization that have rolled up your sleeves and have raised significant monies to prevent ovarian cancer, and to also bring to the city of Richmond over 600 participants that will stay in our hotels and eat at our restaurants and help build our economy, to raise money for boys and girls clubs. You're to be proud of the work that you're doing. Richmond is a diverse city. You add to our diversity. And more importantly, we appreciate the wonderful work that you're doing to make life of quality a reality for many, many, many citizens in the city and in this region. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the sentiments of Council Vice President Ellen Robertson. The organization, RVA Beard League, is a group that I got to know a little over maybe a year and a half ago. Many of these men and their friends were participants in the film Lincoln. And if you think about the movie industry coming to Richmond and the value that it is providing to this city, they need character roles, and these guys offer that. This is tremendous. What they have decided to do, in addition to providing themselves in these extra capacities, to go out there to organize community cleanups, to work to raise funds for important organizations such as Big Brothers Big Sisters of Richmond and Tri-Cities. They are really what is helping to sustain many of the programs that we need to have in this city to continue the work and to reinforce the work that we on City Council would like to see being implemented. What you are doing with the beard and mustache competition is, in fact, bringing tourism to the city of Richmond. It's a great thing. You know, if there are these competitions in Las Vegas and in other cities and we're able to host it in Richmond, that'll help bring people here. I know that Mayor Jones recently celebrated a couple who came to be tattooed, I think. So the fact that we're able to recognize you for the work that you all are doing for our city is tremendous, and thank you very much. Thank you.
On behalf of the RVA Beard League, I'd like to thank Richmond City Council, Vice President Robertson, Councilman Agelasto, and all of you, as well as the City of Richmond, for giving us such an honorable honor. Thank you very much.
Our next recognition, being presented by Councilor Chris Hilbert, recognizes Richmond's John Marshall High School boys varsity basketball team. Present to receive the recognition are team members Travis Boykin, Jaquante Brodus, Kwame Burton, Jeremy Carter Shepard, Gerard Dean McBride, Micah Lampkin, Aaron McCary, Cameron Mead, Taki Mohammed, Dominique Terry, Tristan Waller, Brian White, Nathan Williams, Charlene Carter, team statistician, Wayne Mathis, team manager, Donovan Chu, team manager and co-statistician, Ian Hendricks, team trainer, Ty White, head coach, Mike Blackwell, assistant coach, David Harvey, assistant coach, Craig Small, assistant coach, Kevin Bettis, assistant coach, and Ruby Cunningham, assistant coach.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, members of council, Mr. Mayor, those gathered. You have some rare air here up front of...
I'm sorry, Mr. Hilbert, can I read the award? I just read the names.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Here. I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Thank you.
The honorable members of Richmond City Council and the Honorable Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby unite to recognize, honor, and celebrate the Richmond Public Schools John Marshall High School boys varsity basketball team for their hard work and success in 2012-2013. A state championship finalist, John Marshall High School boys varsity basketball team had a 2012-2013 boys basketball overall season record of 26 wins and 6 losses and earned runner-up status in the 2013 Virginia High School League Group AAA boys basketball tournament. The result of hard work, skills, determination, and support and success of the team goes to the outstanding coaches, managers, teachers, members, staff, parents, families, supporters, friends, and community for their collective roles in helping to make the achievement possible. Richmond City Council is a strong supporter, champion, and advocates of the continued progress, advancement, and success of Richmond Public Schools and is proud to promote and encourage academic education and extracurricular activities that provide safe and structured learning environments that help our children and youth build good mental and physical health. Richmond City Council and Honorable Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby recognize, honor, and celebrate Richmond Public Schools John Marshall High School boys varsity basketball team for their hard work and success in 2012-2013, and thank Principal Beverly Britt and everyone in helping to make the achievement possible.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Pardon the interruption there earlier. Well, I'm so glad we could have you gentlemen down to recognize what you've done. I think I could qualify for the previous announcement about facial hair, but I certainly couldn't play basketball at any time in my life on my best day like you all have done. You have represented our city well, and we really appreciate your involvement and your willingness to come down and be recognized. Coach White, thank you for your leadership. This is your 3rd season, I believe? 3rd season, and certainly you had big shoes to fill, and you have done an excellent job, and we appreciate your leadership. John Marshall has a tremendous history in basketball, and you all have added your names to that legacy. So next year, maybe we can come down and go up one other notch, but you all did us proud, and you've made a great progression over the years, stepped it up to a new level, and that's all we can ask of anyone, is to leave something in better shape than you found it. And certainly you all have done that.
Thank you, Councilman Hilbert. I just want to add my congratulations to the members of the team to allow you to know that you not only make Northside proud, you not only make John Marshall proud, but you make the city proud. And we are very proud of what you have accomplished. You look so great tonight in your sport jackets. I just got to tell you that. And we're very proud of what you have done, and we hope that you will continue to keep on fighting the good fight. And I know that we all have a date tonight on one of these channels, for a big basketball game tonight, right? I started to say the channel, but then the other channels are here, and they think I was giving them preferential treatment. Congratulations. Let's give them a round of applause.
On behalf of John Marshall boys basketball team, Principal Britt, Principal Starnes, and our athletic director, Lamont Davis, I'm so excited of these young men who embraced the task of 4:59 a.m. practices, who embraced the concept of student athletes. I'm so proud of these young men who's accepted a scholarship, collegiate full scholarship to the Citadel, Brian White. Two young men have enlisted in the military services, Tristan Waller and Michael Lampkin. and 3 more seniors to just make a decision here shortly for their collegiate experience. But I'm so proud of these young men who, again, embrace the whole concept of family. And I'm just thankful that we had the opportunity to represent the city of Richmond. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to thank our coaches and our parents for supporting us all year. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations. Thanks.
Mr. President, those are all of the awards and recognitions for this evening.
Thank you very much. At this point, I believe we need to do our agenda review and amendments.
Would you like to have the public hearing budget papers read?
I'd like to set up our agenda and then do the public hearing on the budget, please, so we know what we're going to do for the rest of the night.
Oh, okay.
The amendments for tonight's agenda. Item 1, ordinance number 2012-232 has been withdrawn. Item 2, ordinance number 2013-10 is being continued to May 13th council meeting. Item 3 has been moved to the regular agenda. Item 7, resolution number 2013-R67 has been continued to April 22nd. Item 12, resolution number 2013-R93 is being continued to April 22nd. Item 17, ordinance number 2012-168 has been withdrawn. Item 20, resolution number 2013-R47 has been continued to April 22nd. Those are all the amendments I have thus far. I need a motion to amend the agenda as read.
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Dr. Newbill. And now we're voting on the motion as read to amend the agenda. Mr. Blouse?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robinson? Mr. Alcalasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert? Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuel?
Aye.
The amended agenda is before you.
Thank you very much. Folks, if anyone was here to speak on any of the papers that you just heard read, it means that they've either been withdrawn or continued. If they've been continued, they will come back to this council at a later date. You are invited and encouraged to stay for the rest of this evening, but if you did want to get home to your families, we understand. We just want to make sure you knew that's what was happening at this point in the evening. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
The budget. Okay, the budget-related papers are as follows. Item 21, ordinance number 2013-48, to adopt the general fund budget for FY 14-15. Item 22, ordinance number 2013-49, to amend city code concerning cemetery fees. Item 23, ordinance number 2013-50, to amend pay plan to provide the sheriff with a salary supplement of $21,759 and $3,470,045 for a salary supplement for members of this office. Item 24, to amend city code concerning fees for water services. Item 25, ordinance number 2013-52, to adopt the special fund budget for fiscal year 1415. Item 26, ordinance number 2013-53, to amend city code concerning fees for gas services. Item 27, ordinance number 2013-54, to adopt the stormwater utility budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 28, ordinance number 2013-55, to adopt the electric utility budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 29, ordinance number 2013-56, to adopt the Department of Public Utilities storm internal service budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 30, ordinance number 2013-57, to amend city code to increase the charges for recycling by the city. Item 31, ordinance number 2013-58, to adopt the water utility budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 32, ordinance number 2013-59, to adopt the gas utility budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 33, ordinance number 2013-60, to amend the pay plan for the purpose of revising the implementation schedule for sworn firefighters and police officers, and to provide for salary increase and step advancement. Item 34, ordinance number 2013-61, to adopt the wastewater utility budget for fiscal year 2013-14, and to approve fiscal year 14-15. Item 35, ordinance number 2013-62, to amend city code concerning the fees for wastewater services. Item 36, ordinance number 2013-63, to amend pay plan to suspend the career development program and the educational incentive program for certain police and fire officers for fiscal year 13-14. Item 37, ordinance number 2013-64, to adopt the Parks, Recreation, and Community Facility Richmond Cemetery budget for fiscal year 13-14 and to approve fiscal year 14-15. Item 38, ordinance number 2013-65, to adopt the debt services budget for fiscal year 13-14. Item 39, ordinance number 2013-66, to accept proposed capital improvements for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and for the 4th fiscal year thereafter. Item 40, ordinance number 2013-67, to appropriate and to approve funds for the financing of the school budget for fiscal year 14. Item 41, ordinance number 2013-68, to amend pay plan to provide the Commonwealth Attorney with a salary supplement of $45,710 and $740,088 salary supplements for members of the office. Item 42, ordinance number 2013-69, to authorize the issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds in the maximum principal amount of $106 million to finance the cost of school projects and general capital improvement projects in the city. Item 43, ordinance number 2013-70, to adopt the internal service budget for fiscal year 14-15. Item 44, ordinance number 2013-71, to authorize the issuance of public utility revenue bonds in the maximum principal amount of $88,073,000 to finance the cost of capital improvement projects of the gas, water, wastewater utility, and public utility buildings and facilities. Will the following individuals please stand and form a line as your name is called? Janice Smith, Keith Andes, Michael Anderson, Wade Elligood, Jody Strange, George Booth, Wanda Davis, Stacy Rogers, and Anthony Panicello.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being willing to stand in line like this. Usually each year we ask those who wish to comment on the city's budget to call in and ahead so we can gauge how much time we need to allocate for this. Each year we see the same basic thing. Some folks do, a lot of folks just decide to come down and discuss the budget tonight anyway, which is perfectly acceptable. But I want to make sure those that called to sign up ahead of time got an opportunity to speak first. Those who wish to speak in support or opposition to any of the papers that the clerk just read, would you please now line up behind the folks who signed up to speak? And Mr. Persinger, I see that you indicate you want to speak, but you want to film as well. All right. It looks like the line has concluded. I want to make sure everyone understands. Once folks start speaking, we're going to cap the end of the line so we can give everybody as much time as possible. Usually the rules of council say that each member is allotted 3 minutes and that those speaking in favor or against have a total on their side of 30 minutes to divide up any which way they want. What I'd like to do tonight is have folks in support or opposition to any paper come up. And it looks like we have a little bit over 20 folks lined up. I may be missing some, might be closer to 25 people. That puts us at 3 minutes each over the 1 hour time limit. What I propose we do, if council is supportive of it, is extend the time period to 45 minutes for, 45 minutes against, for a total of 90 minutes. But limit the amount of time of each speaker from 3 minutes to 2. Is there any opposition to that? Okay, very good. Dr. Newbill, do you want to say something?
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I was just trying to ascertain whether this was a line over here on the wall as well or not.
No, I believe those are just representatives to show support for their position. Is that correct, gentlemen and ladies? Yes, I see head nods. Very good. All right. So at this point, would the person at the end of the line please raise their hand? Mr. Jones, is that you?
Jones.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mr. Jones will be the penultimate speaker. Mr. Persinger, I'm going to give you that since you're doing the filming. Would you please step forward, introduce yourself, and tell us what you think?
Good evening, Council President and other members. I am Janice Smith, President of the Fraternal Order of Police, John Marshall Lodge No. 2. Prior to 2006, Richmond Police Department was experiencing a serious police officer retention issue. Our starting salary was a quite bit less than the surrounding jurisdictions. Richmond taxpayers were spending approximately $100,000 training each recruit, only to have some of them resign shortly after graduating from the academy and going to other jurisdictions as a lateral transfer. At one point, the city required recruits to sign a contract stating that they would stay with the city for at least 3 years. In 2006, Mayor Wilder and City Council decided to address the problem. They passed a step-based pay plan that addressed the starting pay and compression issues. The pay plan was in place from 2006 until 2008. In 2009, because of financial restraints, Mayor Jones proposed the freeze of police and fire pay. The FOP opposed the freeze because the 2006 plan had not been fully implemented. The city responded by saying times were hard and all were suffering financially. We concurred. The city stated the freeze was only for 1 year. The FOP did not approach City Council or request a step increase for several years. The pay plan is still frozen today at the 2008 level. In June 2011, the city received a $60.3 million windfall from the RMA. The mayor proposed using the money to invest in a new baseball stadium and other projects. The mayor had the opportunity and funds to address the police and fire pay plan issues at that time, but did not. In 2012, the FOP sent certified letters to the mayor and each member of council informing them that the city has not been paying overtime as required by the Virginia state law for more than 5 years. Received no response. Our officers were forced to file a lawsuit against the City of Richmond to force them to comply with the state law. In January 2013,
Your time is up.
the City of Richmond decided to cut the normal scheduled work hours for most police officers from 84 or 85 hours during a pay cycle back to 80 hours. This was a cut in pay by more than 4.5% for the affected officers. And as everyone knows, there was an additional 2% increase in federal withholding tax which began that month. These officers had their hours cut and taxes increased all in the first month of this year. With the reduction of violent crime, the city has begun to turn around in its image from that of a violent city to that of a city worthy of investment in areas of businesses as well as that of residents.
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind summarizing in a sentence, we've let you go over by 30 seconds.
It's time to invest in public safety, which includes the step-based pay plan, career development, and increase the starting salary for officers so that it's competitive with the surrounding jurisdictions. If you don't, you will lose dedicated, talented officers to other jurisdictions who are willing to value them in a way you have not. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Trammell, we're going to keep this as the public's comments. Folks, thank you all. Thank you all very much for your support for the police. If we were to allow clapping during this session, it would certainly be appropriate to do so. However, because we do want to ensure that everybody gets a chance to speak, I'm going to ask each member from here on out, each speaker, to keep to the schedule we've laid out of 2 minutes. If you have to go over to summarize, we'll allow you a few little extra bits there. But this is the public's chance to talk to council. Council gets to talk to the public an awful lot. So I'm going to ask that we hold all comments until the end of this before we start making discussion between council members and the public.
Mr. President, I have something to say, okay?
And you certainly can, Ms. Trammell, and usually I don't have any objection to it, but because tonight's going to be a significantly long evening, and this is their chance to talk, not ours, I'd ask that you respect them and that.
I do respect you, but you have to listen. When I met with them, I told them they could have 3 minutes. Now all of a sudden, we were told at 4 o'clock, and just now they have 2 minutes. So some of them have already prepared a speech of 3 minutes. Now tonight they come, so let them know that they have 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. Many of them in line, I have spoken with them in the past, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks and told them, yes, you had 3 minutes. All right, we changed the rule tonight to 2 minutes. So when they're, and I think it's very rude to stop them in the middle of a conversation when this is very, very important, when it's police and fire and schools and everything else. So, I mean, we did the awards for over an hour or whatever. Let them have their say.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. I wish you had brought that up when I asked if there was any objection to the 2 minutes. However, I will always allow folks to go over a little bit, and I'm sorry about that. I know when I met with the FOP, I told them there was a possibility it would not be 3 minutes. So they didn't come completely unprepared. Also, folks, please know that you do always have the opportunity, if you can't get everything you want to say in, to call us, to write us a letter, or to send us an email with your comments so that we have a written document of it that we can keep with us as we go through these budget discussions and refer to as we try to figure out how to keep this budget balanced. Mr. Andes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Trammell. I've been working 4 days on this speech, so there's no way I'll get it in 6 minutes anyway. So 2 minutes, I'll do my best. President Samuels, Vice President Robertson, and members of City Council, my brothers and sisters in the police department, my brothers and sisters in the fire department, I stand before you tonight to ask for your support of Ordinance 2013-60 and our Career Development Program for Police and Fire. As I sit here prior to meetings of City Council, my eyes always seem to focus on the wall where the names of the former mayors are etched in marble. These persons are deserving of the recognition for their leadership in moving this city forward. While not being at all disrespectful, we in the fire service also have a list of names, which in my opinion are even more important. I would like to read these names. Firefighter William Ligon, Firefighter Nicholas Walsh, Department Chief W.A. Charters, Firefighter E.M. Wright, Department Chief George Shaw, Lieutenant Charles Rinks, Firefighter C.O. Atkinson, Captain R.M. Normant, Firefighter W.R. Odell, Fire Commissioner John H. Mann, Firefighter Thomas H. Pegram, Firefighters M.B. Nash, Captain W.C. Matt, Firefighter J.B. Gallagher, Firefighter J.R. Guthrie, Firefighter T.R. Johnston, firefighter G.C. Richardson, firefighter A.N. Creasy, firefighter C.A. Cotton, firefighter H.C. Bottoms, Captain John S. Gibson, firefighter Stanley J. Wood, firefighter Charles C. Jones, firefighter Emmett R. Bibb, firefighter Herbert O. Hill, Captain Harvey S. Hicks II, firefighter Douglas P. Evans, Lieutenant Ernest L. Bindle Jr., Captain George D. Benji, Lieutenant Edward R. Carroll Jr., firefighter George W. Miller, firefighter James W. Buckner, firefighter Gary Swanson, firefighter Joseph N. Thomas Jr., Captain Granville L. Wyatt, firefighter Jerry W. Hall, Lieutenant Bernard E. Emerson, firefighter Billy W. Harris. I wish we had a time for a moment of silence to give them the honor that each man so deserves, but I'm up against a ticking clock. You see, Councilman, these men gave the most precious of gifts, their lives. 38 firefighters and 39 police officers given their life to protect this beautiful city. These heroes deserve a wall too. A plaque for both departments with the names engraved needs to have a rightful place inside the walls of this chamber for all to see and pay their respect to. When firefighters and police officers raise their right hand and take the oath to protect and serve the citizens of Richmond, keep them safe from fires and crime, it is a promise that we hold sacred and will never forget. Unfortunately, I guess the old adage that says promises are made to be broken holds true. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Andy. Also, thank you for your applause. If we wait for the applause, we're going to add time and take away from their opportunity to talk and advocate for what they want to tell us. I'd ask that you hold your applause during this section. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Mike Anderson. I'm a firefighter paramedic for the city of Richmond. In 2006, City Council adopted a long-range pay plan for the police and fire department. 3 of our current council members were patrons of this ordinance. The ordinance provides the employee a step-based, long-range, and career-oriented pay plan. It also provided the city with a fixed cost for police and fire salaries for the foreseeable future. Employees were advised of their placement in this pay plan by the city, as well as the future movements through it and their commensurate salary increases. On May 26, 2009, an ordinance was adopted to remove the step increase for all police and fire personnel for that year. The next scheduled step increase would occur on July 1, 2010. In 2010, 11, and 12, City Council has adopted similar legislation to prohibit any police and fire employee from receiving any step increase. Police and fire employees are aware as anyone else, of the downturn in the economy in the past few years. Our houses have dropped in value, we have difficulty with credit, vacations are not as prevalent, and many of us work second and third jobs to help support our family. In spite of this, we all have continued to provide the citizens and visitors of Richmond with a superior public safety. Crime has gone down, fire damage has decreased, and overall, both departments have an extremely high public approval rating. Public safety is different. We are long-term, career-oriented employees. As a rule, when there is an employee, when an employee is hired, we are here for a minimum of 25 years. We live and breathe our jobs. We become part of this community, and we strive to make our city a safer, healthier, and much more beautiful place to live. We also have a separate pay plan, retirement plan, and other benefits that show the distinction from other city employees. The pay plan you adopted was intended to be long-term. Employees that were hired in 2008 have now not had any pay increases since their hiring. We hire public safety for a lifetime. We want stability in our community as well as internally. This pay plan was not intended to be a cost of living type plan, hence the logical and yearly step increase. If you look at the ranges, the pay plan is still quite relevant with the cost of living. The issue is you haven't allowed anyone to progress in the way the plan intends. It now, to now plunge.
Your time is up, thank you.
Okay.
If you want a one-sentence summary, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. I would ask for you to restore the pay plan now. We have been patient and we have worked in good faith with no raises since 2008. We deserve what you promised in 2006. We have delivered, and now it's your turn.
Thank you very much, sir. Folks, I'm going to ask you not to applaud. I'm sorry, but we got to give everybody the chance to talk. Every time we applaud for the person that just did it, we take up more time, not only by waiting for the applause to end, but by my inevitable speech afterwards. So I'd ask that you please hold your applause. We understand that many of these folks are advocating for the very same things you would like to see happen. Yes, sir.
Good evening, President, Vice President, members of council, Madam Clerk, Madam Assistant Clerk. Good evening. I'm Wade Elegant, the current elected Vice President of Richmond Education Association. Before I start, we are tag teaming today. City Council is meeting, and so is School Board. So I just want to acknowledge our President sitting right there, Angela Dew. She's got to leave and go up and do the other side. So we're tag teaming. Make sure we get you guys to see where we are. I can take my 2 minutes and paint you a picture, but that picture would last an hour. Richmond Public Schools has done everything we can possibly do to make sure our kids are educated. Our teachers, our support staff have given everything we have and some in order for us to be successful. But each time I paint this picture in front of City Council or School Board, I have to come back to something that is true. Those things that we know to be true. We haven't seen a raise in 10 years. 10 years. We have not seen a raise, but yet our students and their scores continue to rise each and every year, which means we are doing our jobs. We are not just doing our jobs for the city of Richmond, we are doing it for the kids of City of Richmond, which we say is our future. We believe in the jobs that we do. That's why we're still here. We hear now that you guys are looking to give us what we need to be successful. We thank you for that. We hope when you take this vote, you take into consideration that all the persons here today need to see some extra money in their pocket. But we've been working with the same dime for the last 10 years. Please give us 2 more cents. That might work. Give us $2 more. That would make us feel better. But give us a 10% pay increase and we'll jump through hoops. We know that's not possible, but we believe in what we do, believe in us, trust us, because the children are our future, and we give in all that we have to give. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, my name is Jody Strange, President of Friends of Richmond K-9, but I am going to turn this over very quickly to who's going to be speaking to you tonight. It's our president of our junior board of Friends of Richmond K-9, Samantha Strange. And I do ask, I have a little bonus going for us. She is 12, and this is huge for her to step up, talk in front of a governing body. So it is short. I would ask that you allow her to complete, because it will be quick. So thank you very much.
Ms. Strange.
Yes.
This Ms. Strange.
Hi. Mr. President, members of City Council, thank you for having me. There is a building on a fantastic piece of land on Forest Lawn Drive. This is where an amazing group of officers arrive along with their K-9 partners to report for work before they head out to protect and serve you, me, and all the citizens of Richmond. In front of you, you will see some blue folders. While I speak to you, and long after I leave, I ask that you take a look at the condition of this building. I know it is very sad to see the way it looks and the condition that it is in. I do not understand why the people that make decisions about giving these officers a decent place to work lets them continue to work in this kind of building. My mom told me that they should not move because the land they are on is perfect. But don't you think they deserve a new building on this property? Everyone tells me that this K-9 unit is amazing and that they are really great at what they do. And I know firsthand that that is true. We all know that dogs are special at what they do because of their special talents: smelling, speed, agility, willingness to work and serve, and embracing life. These K-9 dogs embrace the life of the city. K-9 makes Richmond a safer place, by far. The Richmond Police K-9 unit officers and their K-9 partners risk their lives protecting this community. Their lives could be gone in 1 second, and yet they still choose to serve us. The question I have is, who's protecting them? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Strange. I'm sorry, it was really good, Ms. Strange. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Lee Booth, and I'm a student in Maggie Walker Governor's School. It's an honor that I can speak in front of you all tonight. Richmond Public Schools has a projected budget shortfall of $11 million in fiscal year 2014. That's a tragedy. And education prepares its pupils for life. It enlightens the students on mankind's collective journey through the ages and instills habits and values that the students will use for the rest of their lives. When I was a 4th grader at Mary Mumford Elementary School, I was fortunate enough to be in the space program. In space, we divided up into groups of 3 or 4 to participate in the stock market game against other Richmond Public School space students. We were given $100,000 fictional dollars to invest in the stock market, in the real stock market. And after 2 months of researching, investing, and checking stocks, and one of which was Apple, we were happy about that, we made over $5,000 fictional dollars and came in second place among all RPS stock market game teams. It was a thrilling experience. We got to learn how the stock market actually worked, was like to look at companies, and a lot of our budget decisions were just based off what we heard. And you know, Apple was coming out with the cool iPhone back in the day, and we thought that was a good idea, and we invested in that. And since we got second, we got to ride on a limo to the Bull and Bear Club for an endless business buffet lunch. And what I got out of it was, good things happen when you invest. Today, I've put some of my own money, which I could have spent on Xbox games or a new phone, into the stock market. I hope to keep it till when I retire. Richmond Public Schools has taught me a lot, is and instilled a value for investment that every student should have the opportunity to get, and I hope you all keep that in mind while finalizing budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. I'm Rhonda Henning Davis. I'm Vice President of the Alliance for Progressive Values. We're an educational nonprofit organization with hundreds of members from the Richmond area. I'm here to speak about the budget and the proposed rises in utility and water rates. Richmonders already pay more for water than almost any other city in the country. Ordinance 51 raises the water volume fees. Ordinance 53 raises the gas fees 3%. Ordinance 57 raises the fees for recycling. As a progressive organization, we are in favor of recycling, so this isn't helping. Ordinance 62 has the highest increases, with wastewater volume fees increasing nearly 125%. Taken together, this is a serious increase for all households. The city has even set aside $1 million for public assistance to deal with this increase. So, by doing this, you acknowledge you're creating a need for assistance with the proposed rate increases, and you're placing another hurdle in front of low-income and working families just to cover basic needs. And what happens when the million runs out? President Samuels, you and I corresponded through email on this subject. When I asked about simply cutting the rates to bring them into line with the other jurisdictions without an increase in volume rates, you handed me the budget and asked me to find $20 million to cover the shortfall. Let me say that APV stands ready to help you find that money. Maybe we could start with the deals for corporations, such as the $14 million for the Landmark, soon to be named Altria Theater, for the cost overruns on the new jail, or the sweetheart deal for a certain football team who I personally love, but who will remain unnamed tonight. We're 5 years into the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. People around the city are having a hard time. They're telling you that tonight. I do not envy you having to create a budget in these circumstances, but the plan we have here makes up the shortfall on the backs of low-income and working-class families, and that is a bad budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Stacy Rogers, represent the Richmond Coalition of Police. I don't have anything prepared as a speech, but I'm going to tell you, the men and women that you heard clapping are clapping because they are frustrated, and they want to hear somebody speak what they've been saying for a number of years. They've been muted. I'm here to speak against the ordinance for 2013-60 and 63, which would push back career development and push back step increases to 2015. It's been pushed back before. You guys are, the mayor is attempting to push it back again. I would ask that at some point, the bill is due. And we're either going to pay the bill or we're not going to pay the bill. And I would ask that you be honest with the men and women that are in this room here today, that are standing behind me, and give them the respect of knowing that it's either going to be there or it's not going to be there. We were told in 2006, as a firefighter so eloquently said, that we were given this plan. And I took that plan personally as a promise of the future, and it was jerked away. And we've been told each year that it's coming back. Well, again, they want to push it off again. Make no mistake, The men and women of the Department of City of Richmond are watching you guys tonight, and they're going to watch you in the next couple of weeks of what's going to happen. You can decide what kind of public safety you want. The mayor said he wanted to build the best Richmond, and I support that. But you can't have the best Richmond without the best public safety. And you will not have the best public safety unless you take care of the men and women within the department. I recently met with our chief who said the days were gone of people staying for 20 or 25 years. They're gone if you don't pay them. If we're going to go to a plan of 5 or 7 or 8 years and somebody leaving, that's a completely different dynamic, and it's going to be a completely different public safety than what the city has experienced. We've cut crime in half in every category since 2005. We've done our job. We're asking you, we need you to support us, regardless of what the mayor might ask. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. President, Vice President, council members. My name is Tony Paciello. I am a Richmond City police officer, a proud member of the Richmond Coalition of Police, and the Vice President. I stand before you tonight to urge you to vote no against the Ordinance Amendment 2013-60 and 63. The public safety employees of this city are losing or have lost hope. It is you that have the opportunity to step up through this time of adversity and frustration and reignite the flame of hope and the passion these employees once had. The same determination and passion that will lead us to the best Richmond. It is all too often I have conversations with my coworkers and hear them say, I may lose my house, or I don't get time to spend with my family because I have to work too much to make ends meet. These are not the thoughts a public safety officer needs to have in his head while he puts his life on the line to protect the citizens of Richmond. I remind you, just because you see a smile and hear a laugh does not always mean that everything is okay. We display our professionalism and we always rise to the call of the city every day. It is now that we ask you to show us that we did it for a purpose. I ask when it is time to vote that you think of these stories that you've heard tonight and in the past and support the public safety officers, the same employees that are the foundation of one of the pillars that builds this city. I thank you for this time to speak, and I have faith that you will do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paciello. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Beth Weisbrod with the Virginia Capitol Trail Foundation. I appreciate you having me here tonight. First, I'd like to thank you all for supporting the Virginia Capitol Trail up until this point. I would also like to thank Mayor Jones and his staff for all the work they've done in getting us to this point as well. I'm speaking in favor of the budget item in the capital improvement projects that will be enough to complete this project. An investment like this is a very easy thing in that typically it will come back in a short amount of time. We're predicting at least 400,000 people will come through Richmond when the Virginia Capitol Trail is finished. It's a 52-mile trail going from Richmond to Williamsburg, and based on what we're seeing in Williamsburg where it's already complete, this is a very conservative estimate. These people all spend money, which will end up in the city's coffers and help eliminate maybe some budget stress next year. It's also imperative that we get this trail done now in preparation for the World Cycling Championships in 2015. Any delay would put that in jeopardy, and when the eyes of the world are on this town, that would be a very bad thing. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
My name's Wayne Dawson, and appreciate council, president, vice president allowing me to speak. I was a part of the pay plan 2013-60 as a firefighter. I went in 1968 and retired just shy of 40 years of service in 2007. The last 3 years of my career, I decided to work very hard to see if I could pay all of my bills, take care of everything so I could retire. It required a second job to do that. I might say that talking with the guys now that are in the department, there's rarely people that are working longer than 25 or 30 years. A 40-year thing it rarely happens. Thus, when I did retire, I started my fixed income. There's been no cost of raise for me. I understand the hard times. I used to heat my home with fuel oil, but I couldn't do that because I wanted to get the best price by filling up the tank. And so I started using my heat pump. That's a monthly thing. And I've always believed that if you wanted something, that you needed to work for it. It was that simple, cut and dry. I contribute to my church, the SPCA, any kettle that I see at Christmas time. And I'm finding that I have less money to do the things that I'd like to do since retiring, and my money goes to what I have to have. At some point, every person in this room, no matter what your position is going to be retired, and you're going to be on a fixed income. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. I'm better off than some. I was able to pay my bills. But retirement for me is not what I thought it would be now, because my income, my COLA, I haven't had a cost of raise. I don't even know when they gave us one. Like I said, it's been since before 2007. My dad retired as a Richmond police officer after 38 years, and he was facing the same thing that I'm now facing. I appreciate the bottle of water because I can't afford to buy one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir, how can I help you tonight?
Ulysses Brown, 8th District resident. I stand in support of some budget items and opposition of others, but my theme really is about well-managed government in terms of the budget. There were some presentations made today by some of the agencies seeking budget money, and I noticed that some of those budget-related papers are on this agenda for tonight. In particular, I'm just going to pick one where the ordinance 2013-50 for the new for the sheriff's budget paper. They wanted an amendment for more money. There were questions asked at that meeting that they were not able to answer. How can you run a well-managed government and vote on those papers tonight when they haven't presented the data that the council asked for at those meetings? Some of you know what I'm talking about because you were here and asking those questions. Some other things about the budget that I think does not represent well-managed government that could be improved, and I have presented a paper with 9 items to each of your desks. They're highlighted in this bright yellow, and I won't, because of the time constraints, I won't go over them all. But in the budget that talks about Tier 1 government, Richmond, a Tier 1 city, characteristics, and 14 characteristics: transparency, open government, and advanced 21st century technology are not included. Also absent is the concern that addresses the poverty in this city. If you still have 25% of the city residents in poverty and 40% of the children, it's still not going to be a Tier 1 city, even if you address all 21 of those characteristics that's in this budget document. Moving right along, I want to say that the city clerk's office, a lot of us rely on that. I saw that there was a $40,000 budget reduction for this upcoming year and $40,000 in 2015. I'd like to see that money. I don't understand why it's taken out, but I'd like to see the city clerk's office fully funded and expanded to provide for those committee meetings, to have audio for those meetings available to the public. A lot of us rely on the services that the city clerk's office does. Finally, I want to say that there was a statement in the mayor's budget that talks about roughly 1/3. Yeah, I'm wrapping up.
30 seconds. I'll be being summarized in one.
Yes, I'm wrapping up in 1 second. 1/3 of the general fund expenditure, $254 million, are for essential anti-poverty activities. I still have not been able to find that in this budget. So if someone could please address that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Chris Dorsey. I just want to start by answering the man's question about budget money being appropriated without being able to answer any questions about where it's going or the particulars. I would remind everyone that is standard operating procedure for this body. Exhibit A would be the jail project, and the sheriff's office is wanting additional money I guess, to supplement the family members of the sheriff. Also, I'd like to address the police officers and say that they worked hours that they were guaranteed pay from the city government, and the city government refused to pay. That, to me, is, I mean, pay without, or work without pay is, I mean, that's illegal, that's unlawful, but that's what they did. So I'm not sure what the officers think is going to change. That's always the way it is. The people who control the money, the people at the Economic Development Authority, they can get $11 million with the snap of a finger for Bon Secours, the Washington Redskins, a jail to lock up the citizens of Richmond, and Altria, the former Philip Morris, but they won't pay the police officers or anybody what they're actually owed. And I will say that it is criminal that the poverty rate in this city is not addressed. But it is, again, standard operating procedure because this body only serves the small percentage of moneyed interests and families that control the government. And I'll get into that during citizen comment. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. My name is Scott Berger. I'm a citizen of the 5th District. I'd like to request a delay of the water sewer rates papers. I am very concerned that the mayor's pattern of rushing items to council without proper council input is being repeated with the water sewer rate resolutions for consideration tonight. As you know, the mayor declared the Raft-Tellis rate study, for which the taxpayers paid $200,000, as his personal working papers and did not release the study until the mayor's proposal was already set. So there was very little opportunity for council or the public to discuss the study. We were also promised that the appropriate council committee would first consider the rates in January, but the council committees were bypassed. While the movement towards reducing the minimum service charge and creating a conservation rate is laudable, there is a lot more examination needed. A delay is justified. Under the mayor's proposal, the pilot payment in lieu of taxes, into the city's general fund includes a payment of over $3 million in lieu of federal income tax. This is of questionable legality and is not a reasonable interpretation of the language found in the city charter, since no business makes federal income tax payments to the city. The mayor's proposal is not revenue neutral. The doubling of the volumetric rates actually results in large overall rate increase, even with the proposed lowering of the service charge. With the proposed doubling of the volumetric rates, the minimum monthly water sewer service charge can be reduced to $20 a month and still be revenue neutral, even with a 10% reduction in volume. One other major point I'd like to bring up, it is fundamentally unfair to overcharge customers for basic service and then suggest they apply for a handout. The customers want parity, not charity. 26% of Richmond's residents are living below the poverty level, and it is not reasonable to expect that a quarter of the utility customers will have the wherewithal to apply for a low-income discount. As a result, many low-income residents will be funding the charity payments for other low-income residents. Instead of charity, it would be far wiser to offer an affordable base rate with a low-volume discount for customers using less than 3 units of service each month, in line with the rates offered in Henrico. In conclusion, again, I'd like a delay of the water sewer papers because I think there needs to be more examination of what's in them. You've heard tonight from the Alliance for Progressive Values. There are other people here speaking tonight on this subject, and it deserves to be fully vetted. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. None of the budget papers are going to be voted on tonight, just so everyone knows.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. President and council members. I'm here speaking tonight regarding Ordinance 2013-51. My name is Dr. Kim Allen, and I'm president of the Richmond NAACP. And as many of you know, the NAACP is the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization, and for nearly 100 years in the city of Richmond has led the fight to advance the interests of racial minorities and low-income residents here in the city of Richmond. As the president of the Richmond NAACP, I am here this evening speaking on behalf of the hundreds of our members and the thousands of our supporters who live here in the city of Richmond who seek fairness in the assessment of water and sewer rates. As you well know, Richmond's minimum water and sewer service charges are among the highest in the entire country. Paying an annual minimum assessment of $590+ for water and sewer services is a significant bite out of Richmonders' paychecks, disability checks, Social Security checks, and retirement checks. It's a real financial burden. Low-income city residents on a tight budget typically use little water, but end up paying a disproportionately higher share of the city's water bill. What we need are water and sewer rates that are equitable and that promote conservation. I stand here asking that you give customers genuine incentives to conserve water. In turn, our city will reduce the need for future water treatment facilities and reduce pollutants downstream. If we do this, low-income residents, homeowners on fixed incomes, Social Security grandmas and grandpas, like the many who make up the membership of the Richmond's NAACP, and other citizens who vote year in and year out, will have significantly more disposable income to make ends meet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. President, Ms. Vice President, and very honorable members of council. My name is Charles Poole, and I'd also like to address the water rate issues, ordinances 24, 31, 34, and 35. I also support further lowering the base water and sewer service charge to $15 per month with the low volume discount for customers using under 2,200 gallons of water. This would be similar to Henrico's rate structure. The mayor's proposal is moving in the right direction, but is only a half measure. Putting most of the charge on the volumetric consumption rather than the service charge is a logical way to promote conservation. Customers will carefully watch their consumption if the bill is in proportion to the amount of water used. Conservation of water reduces the need for building more infrastructure to increase capacity. It reduces the amount of chemicals used and the amount of pollutants and chemicals discharged into the James River. Conservation reduces the need to hire additional employees and to handle increased capacity, and reduces the stress upon the resource during the times of drought, which we know are coming. Please reduce the water and sewer service charge to $15 per month, offering a low volume discount to customers who use less than 2,200 gallons monthly. This will not only provide a financial incentive for conservation, but will also provide an achievable goal and target for residential consumption. And the beautiful thing about this is that in providing an affordable base service, you will also be supporting conservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Yes, sir.
My name is Christopher Maxwell. Thank you for accepting our thoughts, Honorable Council. I would like to support the previous three speakers, especially Scott Berger and Charles Poole's excellent and considered points, and would only add that the United Nations 2007 Development Program estimates that water consumption is doubling at the rate of population growth. And water is a key to a city's thriving and survival, perhaps even. We already see droughts now and then in Richmond, and perhaps that will increase. Water wars are in the news and blogosphere. So I would say, please, let's lower the monthly admin fee to something like $15 a month and increase the CCF, the per CCF charge, to encourage and reward conservation that will be one of the keys to a thriving city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jones, penultimate word.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. Good afternoon, members of council. First of all, I want to ask council, I had talked to some of the council members about maybe matching the mayor's 2% to see if the council could come up with 2%. And also, you know, after hearing all the officers talk tonight, I don't know if y'all saw the news tonight. One officer's car was taken from him, and a suspect had pulled a gun on him. I'm thankful that that police officer is able to go home to his family tonight. So, you know, we see what the police officers put their lives on the line doing, and I think it's more that needs to be done, because the payroll taxes has gone up to 6% this year, and the insurance has gone up on people. You know, the employees. So, I really think that, if council can come up with something to help these police officers and the fire department and the city workers, because it's due time. And I want to thank the mayor for putting in his 3.1%, and I hope y'all will vote on that for the statue for Maggie Walker. But please see what you can do to help the city workers and the police officers. And like I say, I want to thank God that police officer was all right tonight. How many more we got to do that? I hear that all the time, police officers saying that they're leaving the city and going somewhere else because they're not making the money, they're not getting the raises. And it's all true. It's bad when you if I live in Northside and I got to wait, I'm not going to exaggerate, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, because if you only got 2 police officers working in the area and you got them on vacation, you're not going to get that response time. So, City Council, see what you can do to tighten up on the budget for these people. They really need the support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, Mr. Persinger.
Good evening. My name is Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. I would like to speak in opposition to this whole process. I appreciate you setting aside an hour of your time to hear from citizens, but where's the mayor? He didn't even care to listen to what the people have to say about his budget. I know his representatives are here, and hopefully they'll report back to him, but where is our mayor? I object to, the 25 people that got up having only 2 minutes to address 24 papers representing a budget of $760 million, $532,000. There's no way it's not humanly possible to address this in 2 minutes. I think, the people of Richmond said we want an elected mayor at large, but I think the process is flawed. We need participatory budgeting where the citizens have more input in how this budget is crafted. You can't just leave it to one man and his staff to craft a budget for a city of 200,000 people. It's not fair, and it's prone to corruption and cherry picking. He can do whatever he wants to do, and people don't have time to analyze it or even really know what's going on. I think it's council's responsibility to push for participatory budgeting. Not only will it be good for the citizens of the city, it will be good for members of city council also who are getting the shaft from the mayor's budget. If you wanted to participate in the mayor's planning, he offered 5 budget sessions between January 24th and February 7th that start at 6 p.m. I'm sure they didn't go on until midnight, but we need to set aside sufficient time to have a serious discussion about the budget. Giving citizens here 2 minutes to discuss a $700 million budget isn't satisfactory. It's your guys' duty to fix the problem, because this is a problem, and you have a room, not even a room full of people, but you have people here that are interested, and there needs to be more people here, more people involved in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Persinger. Appreciate all those. That concludes the public comment session for the budget. As I said, none of these papers are being voted on tonight. Instead, that will be for a date later on, and to be honest with you, at this moment has completely slipped my mind what that date is. Perhaps a city attorney or a city clerk or a city chief of staff for council could remind me. May 15th. Thank you. May 15th is when we actually vote, so please don't think this is your last chance. We have to put in our budget amendments to make the changes to the administration's budget as we believe are appropriate, and there will be many more opportunities for public comment. And please don't ever hesitate to give us a call, send us a letter, send us an email. Let us know what you're thinking. It's real important to us to know what's going on in the minds of our constituents when it comes to the budget. So we thank you all for that. I just want to summarize. K-9, retirees, and the Capitol Trail, objection to the whole process, and the well-managed government each received 1 public speaker. Raises in the school system or more funding for the schools received 2 speakers. And water fees, and then between the Richmond Police Department and Richmond firefighters asking for a step increase or more funding, both had 4 speakers come and talk. And we appreciate that. It tells us a little bit about where the priorities are of not only our constituents, but also the employees that protect and serve our communities. So we thank you all very much. Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, I need a motion to continue the budget-related items, item 21 through 44. Mr. Agalasto, can you make that motion, please?
So moved.
We'll continue on budget item 21 through 44 to council meeting on April 22nd. Mr. Bliles? Aye. Ms. Graziano? Aye. Ms. Mosby? Aye. Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agalasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell? Aye. Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuel?
Aye.
That motion has been adopted.
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to move on to the regular agenda, please.
Mr. President?
Yeah, yes, Ms. Trammell.
Can I say something?
I wish you would.
I just want everybody in the audience to know that you were fair, because when we had another paper a few weeks ago, we went on for several hours, and it was in reference to some windows. But anyway, what we try to do is we thought maybe it was going to be 75, maybe to 100 speakers tonight. And I just want to thank the police and the fire and others that decided to choose people to come here and speak for them. But as we saw the whole city hall, in this council chambers, they were lined up, but they didn't take their opportunity to speak because they allowed others. But I just want to say you were being fair, and we cut it down to 2 minutes because we thought it was going to be about 75 people. And speaking from my heart, that's what I thought. I thought when I saw everybody around the council chambers, everyone was going to speak. So I think that the president was trying to be fair to give everyone an opportunity to speak. So that's why he's given the speakers 2 minutes. So I wanted to make that clear. Okay. But you all still have an opportunity to call us, contact us, send emails, and still come down here. But we've heard you. I mean, as the president just said, mainly 4 things: police and the fire, the K-9, and the schools, and the utilities. That's what's on the people's minds in this city right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Regular agenda?
Yes, Mr. President, would you like to start with item number 3? Ordinance number 2013-12. That's to amend Chapter 102, Article 4, Division 1 of the City Code by adding a new section, and to amend Section 102-243, both for the purpose of requiring that the curbside wheels of vehicles parked on streets parallel to a curb shall be no more than 18 inches from such curb, and imposing a fine for the violation of such requirement.
Yes, please. Mr. Agalasto, I believe this is your paper. Do you want to give a brief introduction?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. This paper was brought forth by concerned citizens regarding automobiles that were parallel parked significantly further from the curb, almost obstructing the flow of traffic. They've been trying to work with Richmond Police for years to have it a little bit more actively patrolled. However, most of our issues in the city are complaint-driven, and they ended up having some officers say that they wish that they had more clarification coming from City Council. In discussions with a number of people, mostly with the ambulance authority, with the fire department and police, many of our older roads tend to have a narrower width, and when you have parallel parking on both sides of the street, it makes it sometimes impassable if you've got automobiles parked further from the curb. And they encouraged us to find a way to encourage people to park closer to the curb. This parking ordinance would do that. In addition, the Department of Motor Vehicles manual for drivers in the state of Virginia actually states that no automobile shall be parked further than 12 inches from the curb. However, that seemed to be a hardship for some in the city, so we've extended it to 18 inches, trying to make accommodation. Also, with the biking community, one of the concerns when you have variable parking along the edge is you end up kind of having to salamander your way down the street, swerving in and out of traffic, which is producing an extra hazard and not something that we want for our biking community to have to endure. So with that, it's gone to Public Safety Committee twice. We made a couple modifications. This ordinance would not apply to streets that have no curbs. So anybody that has gravel to grass or pavement to grass, it does not apply. and we've also extended the distance to 18 inches.
Thank you very much. Are there those here in the audience tonight that wish to speak in favor or in opposition to this paper?
My name is Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. I would like to speak in support of this paper. I was supportive of the 12-inch requirement, but Mr. Hilbert had a hard time with that in the committee meeting, and so I think 18 inches is totally reasonable. I would like to take this opportunity to let citizens know that if you fail to park within 18 inches of the curb, you may be fined up to $20, but it's also just as likely that you won't be. And if you want to complain about it, you can call the police and they will enforce the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Persinger. Anyone else in favor or in opposition?
My name is Chris Dorsey. I'm speaking somewhat in opposition to this. I think that this is a red herring issue. We have many parking issues in the city, space being the optimal, and there's really no place to park in the city. The condition keeps getting worse, and I guess this is just another way for the government to get more finances out of the people. I make sure that I'm, more than or closer than 12 inches to the curb if I'm driving a car, and I usually bike ride everywhere in the city, and there's too much traffic. And there's not enough parking. That's the issue that is the most important. Thank you very much.
Very good. Anyone else in favor or opposition? Bringing it back to council for any discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support this paper, and I appreciate Mr. Agalasto's willingness to accept a friendly amendment from me. I do believe that if a car is impeding the street right now, that the officers have the ability to tow that car and or give it a ticket. This merely establishes that if you're further than 18 inches from the curb, you are impeding traffic. And so I think this is a basic consideration of others. And for those that would tell you that this is another imposition of the city of Richmond, an uninviting message for those that would visit our city, I would tell you that this is the most liberal distance in the Commonwealth. It's no closer in Chesterfield. The city isn't imposing anything that Chesterfield County isn't asking. So I know that you hear those stories a lot about the city of Richmond, and that's unfortunate, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And this is the most liberal standard in the state, and one that I think is a good one, and I appreciate Mr. Agalasto's willingness to accept my amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. Are there any other comments about this paper, Ms. Trammell? Dr. Newell, do you have one also? I'll call you next.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to agree with what the last speaker said because, in our city, it's just so easy to get a ticket. And I think now that, I wished I had the flyer, but anyway, if you have so many unpaid tickets, they will now put a boot on your car, and you can't get your car until you pay all your fines and then pay, $60, $80 to get the boot removed from your car. And I mean, that's, to me, parking's an issue down here. I mean, it's like you're going to put another burden on the person that's not parked, get out your car, do the measurement or whatever, and then back it back up and pray you don't run over the curb or hit another car and, have damages to your car, to that person's car. So I appreciate you, Parker, what you've done. We've tried to come to a compromise, but some people in my district are calling and saying, please don't support this. This is just another thing that's going to be added to them if they get a ticket or 3 tickets and then they can't, get their car until they pay to have the boot taken off and have the tickets paid. So I just cannot support this paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trammell. Dr. Newell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just really wanted to add some of the comment that came up in the Public Safety Committee meeting that really spoke to the issue of safety, which was the most compelling. I think the ambulance authority at that time shared with us that they were not able to get down a street because a car was parked out so far, and actually there was damage done to the vehicle, and it could not get down the street, and another vehicle had to be called to address the original matter that ambulance was going out to. And so I appreciate that, you know, for many, parallel parking can be a challenge, but DMV requires about 12 inches from the curb, and there's some that go up to 24. This is that kind of middle place. And again, the most compelling piece had really to do with safety, where we have smaller streets and we have our safety vehicles trying to negotiate those streets. I think that's a challenge, and that's something worthy of our consideration in this matter. So I appreciate the middle ground. It can be a little daunting, but at the same time, there's some really compelling issues here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I'll tell you that this is one that's caused me a lot of consternation. On the one hand, I do like letting folks know exactly what is expected, so there's very little confusion. I think this paper does that in a very real and very concrete way, and I thank Mr. Agelasto for that. On the flip side, there is already a law that says you can't block the right-of-way. You can't park in the right-of-way. And that's pretty clear also. It doesn't tell you exactly how far out you have to be in order to be blocking the right-of-way. And I don't know where the cars were parked in Dr. Newbill's example. So I appreciate the work Mr. Agelasto did in bringing this to our attention, and quite frankly, for the awareness it's brought to a lot of constituents. I know that I've taken it to all the neighborhood associations that have met since his introduction of this paper to feel them out on it. And I appreciate Mr. Hilbert's amendment to give folks a little bit more of a comfort level with it. I'll go ahead and support this paper tonight. If it turns out that it's a major problem, I may ask that we review it, but I don't foresee that happening. Certainly hope it doesn't happen. Thank you all. Please call the vote.
Council is voting on item number 3, ordinance number 2013-12. Mr. Beliles? Aye. Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
No.
Dr. Newbill? Aye. President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you very much. What's next on our agenda, Madam Clerk?
Next, we have item number 18 on the regular agenda, and that is ordinance number 2013-47 to amend the City Code Section 114-402.2 for the purpose of including the raising or keeping of no more than 4 female chickens as a permitted accessory use.
Very good, thank you. This is actually my paper, and so I guess it's time for me to get up and stand and explain why it is that I believe this makes good sense. Back almost 2 years ago now, City Council began hearing murmurs of folks who wanted to keep chickens in an urban environment. This debate has gone on for quite some time. It has captured the imagination of the media in a way that I see very few things do, and it's certainly kept on for quite some time. It became a campaign issue for some races. It really has been fascinating, something that seems one way or the other like a no-brainer. Turned out to be a very interesting topic. The administration, basically their Access to Food Task Force, Blue Ribbon Commission on Nutrition, recommended something similar to this. I asked the administration in a study to provide us with recommendations on what they would be willing and had the capability to enforce. Vice President Robertson was kind enough to do some research on this as well for our staff, and I appreciate her information there as well. Based on that, the administration provided a report which laid out certain recommendations, the vast majority of which were incorporated into companion papers. The one you see before you tonight is the companion paper to one we passed unanimously about a month ago that provided for backyard chickens. However, there were severe limitations. No more than 4 had to be female, in other words, no roosters, and it could not be in side yards or front yards, etc. This is the paper that amends the zoning code to match the paper we've already passed. So there's nothing substantially surprising or unexpected in this paper, but it does complete the job that we started when we passed the paper a few weeks ago. Are there those here in the audience tonight that wish to speak in favor or, well, let's start with this. Are there those that wish to speak in opposition? If you guys, anybody wants to speak in opposition, please line up.
My name is Charles Evans Hughes Sr., live in the South Side. I want to thank you before you start my time here for starting at 6 o'clock. For years I've been complaining about that, and you've done it. Just keep on doing stuff like that. Now I'm starting. Many people have died for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, a God-given right. People have many different pursuits of happiness: collecting stamps, buying old cars, buying glassware, collecting dolls, having chickens, birds, dogs, cats, etc. God made chickens, male and female, before man and woman were created, and gave man dominion over all creatures. Having chickens is a God-given right, and the Constitution backs this right up. To have to pay a fee to have chickens is against the Constitution and is void, null and void. Many times, so-called officials have passed rules and regulations and charged monies for rules and laws that were and are unconstitutional. Every citizen of Richmond has a God-given and constitutional right to have a chicken or dozens of chickens, as long as they are not a health hazard or interferes with the neighbor's rights. The Constitution, who is right. And another thing, without baby chicks, how can you keep your flock up? So that calls for a rooster. A rooster doesn't make any more noise than a barking dog.
Seconds, please begin to summarize.
Summarize, got the three more things. Chicken and dog poop. A dog's poop in a day is more than 10 chickens. Chicken poop is good fertilizer. Dog poop is not. Most of this is where I get you. Most of this city council is educated way above your intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'm here to speak in opposition to this paper. Am I in line? Because I noticed the speaker just spoke in favor of the...
You're in the right place at the right time.
I am? Okay. Thank you. Good evening, President Samuels, Vice President Robinson, and members of City Council. My name is Roger Whitfield, and I'm the president of the Fan District Association, and I'm speaking on behalf of the board and the few neighbors who have contacted us about this resolution. We are of the opinion that the ordinance is not appropriate for our dense urban neighborhood, and thus we're opposing it. With the current distance of 15 feet that a chicken pen may be from an adjacent dwelling, there are many fan properties that are eligible. And I guess from looking over the GIS maps that it is about 25% or more of properties which will be eligible. Most fan dwellers do not engage in any food-producing activities. One rarely sees a row of peas or lettuces or potatoes in a backyard. Most people purchase their food at the supermarket. Most backyards are decorative, are enjoyed for the relaxation or entertainment, and the presence of neighbors' chickens could significantly change that. We're sympathetic to neighborhoods that want them, and thus would welcome language in this resolution that would enable our neighborhood to opt out. A couple of things that you may want to consider are increasing the distance from a neighboring dwelling to, say, 50 feet, which would significantly reduce the number of properties that would be eligible, or some kind of a neighborhood opt-out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whitfield. Are there those now that wish to speak in support of this paper?
Good afternoon. I don't know if a lot of y'all are up here on City Council are from Richmond, but 6th Street Marketplace used to be where you could buy chickens and fish. And back in the days on Hall Street, you could go to Wilson Feed and Seed and buy chickens and rabbits and other animals like that. So, you know, they were in Richmond before, so I don't see why there's a problem in bringing them back. And I'm in support of it.
Thank you, sir. Folks,
yes, sir.
Just so you all know, I'm counting as many people to speak in favor of this as in the total of the $1.5 billion city budget. There is a total of 30 minutes available to you as a group to speak in support. So if you hear what you were going to say come out of someone else's mouth at the podium, please consider allowing that other time to be spent with someone who's going to say something different. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Katie Hornung, and my daughter and I were here once before to speak in front of many of you, and we did cast a chicken vote, and we are happy to see our new district representative here. We believe it's very important just for food quality in particular, with as many children facing as many health issues as they're facing these days. We found in our family that food solved ADHD and autism, and we're working with MCV and Hopkins on a study to prove this again on a larger scale. I know this is the answer. I know it's in my heart. It's we don't have chickens yet, but we're working toward that. And my girls also wanted to just say something. Oh, except now we're shy.
Very good.
Do you want to say anything? Okay. Anyway.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Lisa Harris. This is my daughter, Piper Harris. And she had planned to speak in support of urban chickens and has decided not to. She's feeling a little shy. We feel like chickens make great pets. They're entertaining, they're quiet, they make eggs. They're great pest control. They're not loud. And like she said before, in these times when there's so many health issues, we're talking about food deserts and all this kind of things in the city, why not promote having your own chickens, growing your own? Why not teach that? And why not give that gift to our children? It's a step towards sustainability. It's about being proud. Anything else you want to add? No.
Thank you very much.
Please. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all very much. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Ali. I'm a 5th District resident in the Fan, and I guess I am one of the few residents in the Fan that does have a garden, and I do grow my own food, and I grow it not out of aesthetic reasons. I grow it out of a source of food for me, and chickens is a very important part with that. It allows you to get eggs if you'd like, or you can even raise them for meat. I'd be using them for eggs, and it's a practical thing. It's beneficial to the garden, and it's something that at one point was not out of the ordinary. It's a practical source of food, and I think that the Richmond City has done a good job at supporting food independence through the garden program, and I think they can do the same by supporting the Chicken Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Sheena Mayfield. I'm in Northside District 3. I just wanted to thank City Council for finally getting this in front of us. I know a lot of us have been working really hard. And while I understand we wanted a paper that offers lots of compromise to make sure that everybody's happy, I hope that you all vote in favor of this paper, and that maybe possibly in the future some of the restrictions can be amended so that we could have more chickens, or so that the fee especially is reduced. I know many of the people here tonight are speaking about food quality, food scarceness, growing their own food and food deserts. A $60 yearly fee can impede people from doing this, especially if they wanted something affordable as a replacement for grocery store eggs. And $60 a year plus all of the other expenses required might put that out of some people's reach. But thank you very much for bringing it forward, and I support City Council's actions on this, and I hope you all vote in favor of chickens.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Meredith Temple. I'm a 3rd District resident. I want to thank you all for your work, Mr. Samuels and several other council members who have put a lot of time into researching this. And all I want to say is that, the research that you've all been presented certainly allays any of the fears that I think are typical of this issue. It's a positive thing for our city. It's a positive thing for our region, I think. And I hope that you will all vote yes. It is such a small issue. And I'd just like to point out one more time that as a resident of Northside, we have the largest number of renegade chickens at the moment. You're not hearing a lot of complaints about our neighborhood's renegade chickens. So I don't think we'll see any major change on that front. So please let your fears be allayed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, and thank you for hearing us. My name is Amy White, and I came to Richmond almost 10 years ago now to pursue my education at VCU. After I graduated, I stuck around in town, and I'm now very proud to be a homeowner here. And in less than a month, I'll be getting married in one of our city's beautiful parks. And as my future husband and I talk about where we want to raise our family and where we want to put down our roots, there's 3 things that are critical to our decision. And it's where we can find jobs and provide for our family, how we can maintain connections to the people that are important in our lives by living near to them, and sustainability in the city we select. And Richmond has wonderful jobs that we've been very fortunate to take part in. It's well located so that any future grandparent trips are within 1 hour strategically in either direction. And what I'd love to see is for Richmond to continue making wonderful strides towards food sustainability so that we can continue to grow our own food and be healthier. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm going to be one of the really brief ones. My name is Allison Drew. I live in the city of Richmond and Church Hill, and I hope you support chickens. We already have some geese and a pot-bellied pig up there, I believe. And you don't even know they're there at all. So.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maxwell.
Hello, my name is Christopher Maxwell, and thank you, Honorable Council, for taking the time to hear us. Trust, as you probably know, in America is at an all-time low. Congress just passed a get-out-of-jail-free card to Monsanto. People want to know what's in their food. If they grow it themselves, they know what's in their food. And so, really, chickens are a great way to start with that. It also stabilizes our food supply. If there's any disruption for any reason, eat out of your backyard. It's a supplement as well as during hard times, as well as a way to know what's in your food. Also, I usually get infested by 6 to 7 mice at least per winter, and I have chickens in my backyard, and I've only gotten infested twice this winter. They're eating the other mice. I don't know if people realize that chickens eat mice. They decrease the vermin supply, unlike many cats who are just alleged to be mousers. Chickens also make less noise than most dogs that I know of. Even when they're announcing an egg laying, it's usually in the daytime and not at 3 at night when the cloud comes out, the moon comes out behind the cloud and the dog barks. Chickens don't do that. So I would say that chickens really are actually better pets than many cats and dogs in terms of impact on your neighbor. The poop is not going to be all over the public spaces. It washes away much faster. It's good fertilizer, as pointed out earlier. And really, if we're fine with dogs and cats, what's wrong with chickens? I've never heard of a child being mauled by a chicken, but we still have dogs. And we love our dogs. So chickens are better pets in many ways, and so should be of no concern with a reasonable count of 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Laura Toothman, and like Rhonda Henning-Davis, I'm a representative of the Alliance for Progressive Values. We are in favor of the proposed change to the ordinance and urge you all to vote in favor of it. Everyone who's spoken before has outlined many of the benefits of being able to raise a small number of chickens in the city. And I'd just like to point out that in the city of Manhattan, people are allowed to keep in as many chickens as they like. And also that growing food and having a beautiful lawn are not mutually exclusive. There are ways to meld the two, and I think that the city council is taking a step in the right direction by supporting this change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Diane Tucker. I live in the 8th District. Hey, Reba. I own my own home there, and I've noticed tonight there seems to be a theme of some of the most basic needs for people: safety, food, and water. And it's the year 2013. I can't believe we're still having to fight for these things. But I live in one of the several food districts that are here in Richmond, where it is difficult to purchase quality, healthy produce and meat near my home, that I know what is inside of the food that I'm about to eat. And since you asked for us to only speak about topics that haven't been presented yet, I brought each of you a nice color copy of the USDA's Food Access Atlas, which used to be called the Food Desert Locator. And I've blown up Richmond, and I would like each of you to take a look. You will be able to see by each area those areas that have low income, low access to healthy food, and low to no vehicle access. All of those 3 things together, if you live in a region or in one neighborhood where you have a low income, a low access to a grocery store within a half a mile or 1 mile of your home, and you have no vehicle, you're going to need a way to get access to good food. So I'd appreciate it if you would take a look at that. It utilizes, it's created by the USDA, and it utilizes 2010 supermarket listings, 2010 census data, and information from a 2006 to 2010 American Community Survey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Eva Clark, and I'm from the 1st District. My family and I love eggs, and as vegetarians, we really rely on them as a staple of our diet. I think happy, non-stressed chickens provide nutritious, superior eggs. And then I also wanted to address the comments of the Fan District President, who wants to use their backyards for entertainment. He must never have sat with a chicken, because they provide entertainment, both adults and kids alike. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name's Pete Temple. And how many of you own a dog or a cat? Or maybe your kids have had a hamster or guinea pig or what have you? These all provide comfort, love, and vet bills. They're pets. And chickens may also provide this and breakfast, which I would very much like to see your goldfish do. So vote chickens. Thank you very much.
Mr. Temple. Yes, sir.
I'm Richard Hammock, a resident of the 2nd District. I own a home in the Fan, and I believe I speak for most Fan residents, perhaps a majority of Fan residents, in urging you to pass this resolution. Legalization of chickens would be a small but significant step in improving the livability and quality of life in Richmond. Throughout the country, there's been a growing awareness of the importance of sustainability. The chicken issue is a part of that. I urge us to do what other cities around this country have done: legalize backyard chickens. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing? My name is Julius Green, resident of the 3rd District. I don't have any funny anecdotes or, any statistics. I'm a chef and I'm an instructor. And, I look at this as just another step in the process of really understanding where our food comes from. I take kids, I take adults, I show them how to prepare food. But most of them still don't understand where their food comes from. They still think it comes out of cans, out of the Tyson bag in the freezer. How can you teach someone and help them understand about nutrition, help them understand about, sustainability? I love to troll farmers markets because these guys understand what it means to get at the earth and really grow something, what it means to, birth a tomato from a sprout that big to a giant plant. What does that do for us as a community? You don't have something? I have some right here. I got peas, I've got beans, I've got squash. You can have some too. You help me, I help you. A backyard chicken is nothing more than, it's a pet. But at the same time, when your dog dies, you gonna eat your dog? No. If a chicken passes, well, that goes in the pot. It's not, it's nothing gross, it's nothing grotesque. That's just the way we are, and that's the way as a community we can help ourselves, help each other, that's pretty much the way it is, and I'm glad you all have taken the time to see this through as far as you have. I love it. I'm glad you guys even had the wherewithal to just open a dialogue with us about this. This is, I'm thankful for this. I don't know how everybody else feels, reiterating all this, but I'm happy that we're here right now. So vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Ms. West.
Hi, my name is Valerie West. I live in the 1st District of Richmond, and I'll be brief. I just want to congratulate Council for their wisdom. Last March 11th, when you passed Ordinance 2013-17, which addresses a lot of these issues tonight. It was a wonderful ordinance, and when it passed, it made it legal as of April 8th for me to get a permit for my chickens. I'm hoping tonight that Ordinance 2013-47, the companion paper that goes with that, will allow zoning to be in line with the paper that was already passed, so that I don't go out and get my permit from animal control and then have the zoning people come and cite me for my coop. So once again, I congratulate Council for their wisdom and already seeing to pass Ordinance 2013-17. I hope you show the same wisdom tonight and pass 2013-47. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Craig West. I live in the 1st District as well. They talk about sustainability and food knowledge and where your food comes from. I'm speaking on pest control, mosquitoes, ticks, grub worms. It'll alleviate a lot of the chemical damage that we're doing with Mosquito Squad and Chemlon, and so that's what I'm speaking.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I live in the city, and I think it should not be passed because you have cockfights.
Sir, and I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you mind stating your name for the record?
James Craddock.
Thank you, sir. You can continue. We have to get that out.
I think it should not be passed.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Very good. That being the end of the public comments session, we'll bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none? Well, did I see a hand?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hilbert.
I just briefly want to say that I really appreciate the folks that have had a tremendous amount of patience and tenacity on this. It's been a long train coming, and I really appreciate how you stuck with this issue. You didn't go away. You demanded redress of your grievances from this body, and I believe we have heard you loud and clear. Never underestimate the power of a small but determined group of people to change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you for embodying that sentiment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. Any other comments? Mr. Agelasto?
Mr. President, thank you. It's amazing. I echo what Councilman Hilbert's comments are. But it is amazing how an issue like this can really get people involved in what's going on at City Hall. And I've certainly heard from a lot of people. And honestly, one of the civic associations was going to hold a vote on whether they would support this ordinance or not. And they got, I don't know, 15, 20 new members as a result of that. So getting people out, getting them involved is something that we need to see. Certainly heard a lot of support from the 5th District residents, so I'll be supporting this paper.
Thank you, Mr. Agelasto. Any other comments? Ms. Mosby?
I just would like to thank you all for your voice. To me, that's what matters. Whether I'm for it or against it, that's not the issue. The issue is that your voice. Those that were against it, they have to have a voice. And if they were not here to speak the voice, that's how life is. And I like the judicial way that this was done, and that you all came, you fought, and you stood for what you were believing in. And so at that point, I'm going to vote yes, because they should have been here to say no.
Thank you, Ms. Mosby. Any other comments? Ms. Trammell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, I've had a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, and I thank Diane from my district for all of her help and her support, and she kept her word. She brought me the information, and I'd like to have that before I leave here tonight. And also I'd like to thank the citizens from all over the city that have emailed me, called my home personally, and, you know, said we're not going to be killing the chickens, we just want them for the eggs and for, you know, and they're going to be good pets. So I just want to thank you all for sticking with us and not going away and letting us hear your voices. Thank you all, and I'm going to support this paper tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Any other comments? Very good. Well, I appreciate both sides of this issue. I'll tell you that last fall I sent out in my newsletter a one-page questionnaire asking folks to write in as to whether or not they supported or did not support this issue. I got more responses to this than just about anything except for land use or special use permits. You saw tonight there was as many people here to speak in favor or just on one side of this issue as there was in favor or support on any of the multiple budgetary papers that have been presented to council. This is an impassioned group. The 2nd District seems semi-split on this issue. We've put some safeguards in place to try to protect folks and make them feel comfortable with this. I'm always happy to review this paper at a later date to see if any amendments need to be made. I'll tell you, some jurisdictions have decided to change. I believe Seattle went from a 3-hen maximum to an 8-hen maximum. Others have actually gone the other way. I think my favorite story came out of East St. Louis, where there was a rooster who had escaped and was running around causing havoc at the wee small hours of the morning. These are all issues that I had to consider as we came to a decision on whether or not I was going to even patron a paper like this. But I appreciate everyone's voice, both for and against, for coming out and being willing to express how they felt about it. There are some significant safeguards. First of all, there's only a limited period of time in which folks can, in fact, apply for chickens. There may very well in the future be a cap on the number of permits or new permits issued each year. This does not allow the slaughter in your backyard of any animal, chickens or otherwise. It does not allow roosters. It does not allow chickens in the front yard. It does not allow chickens in the side yard. It does not allow chickens who haven't had owners who have gone through an application process, a background review, and other criteria to ensure that this is going to be an appropriate placement for the chickens. I appreciate the work my colleagues put into this paper as well as their patience as we went through this process. And having said that, Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Council is voting on item number 18, ordinance number 2013-47. Mr. Beliles? Aye. Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you very much, folks. I'm sorry. Even though I love to hear it, you can't applaud during this section of the meeting. If it were up to me, I'd let you applaud all night, but it just can't happen. I got to be fair to everybody and treat everyone the same. May we please have the next paper, Madam Clerk?
Yes, that would be item number 19, which is ordinance number 2013-48. 2023-76 to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of parcels of real property owned by the Richmond Metropolitan Authority known as 7 South Crenshaw Avenue and 16 South Colonial Avenue for the purpose of public parking.
Thank you very much. As everyone strolls out and we're left with fewer members of the public here tonight, are there those here in the public that wish to speak in favor or in opposition to this paper?
Good evening. My name is Silver Persinger. I'd like to speak in support of this paper. This is basically kind of accepting the parking decks located in Carytown between Cary and Elwood. They're currently owned by the RMA and have been managed by the RMA, and this is just accepting the property, so it'll be under the stewardship of the city. However, I would like to raise an objection to the planned management of the facilities. These properties are going to be turned over to Standard Parking that manages other city-owned parking facilities. Standard Parking is a for-profit private business. I think city-owned properties should be staffed by city employees who are guaranteed by ordinance to earn a living wage. City employees also have the benefit of receiving benefits, and to my knowledge, standard parking employees don't receive the same benefits. These are city-owned properties. They should be staffed by city employees. And, this paper, it doesn't talk about the management, the proposed management of the facility. This is just accepting the properties. I support that. I do not support the proposal to turn the management of these facilities over to Standard Parking. That should be done by the city. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Any others in the audience to speak in favor or opposition? All right. Bring it back to council for any discussion.
Council President.
Mr. Agelasto.
Thank you. I hear what Mr. Persinger has been saying about the management of the parking decks, and I've been notified by many of the merchants over in Carytown that they would like to see the decks be managed by the city and owned by the city versus the Richmond Metropolitan Authority. There is a level of concern, however, that by transferring these, the city may begin charging for parking to visit in Carytown. And that's a real concern to the merchants as well as the neighborhood, because as soon as you start charging for parking, people are going to find the available free spaces, which flows over into the community. So one of the things that I'd like at the moment, if I may, is for some assurances from Ms. Lancaster on the proposed plan once these properties are transferred back to the city.
Yes, sir. Ms. Lancaster, come on down.
Good evening. I'm Lynn Lancaster with the Department of Public Works, and we plan to work with the Carytown Merchants Association to determine what their desires are. We've had some initial discussion with the Business Association president, and we'll be working through his executive committee to determine what their desire is.
Thank you very much. Follow-up questions, Mr. Agelasto?
I think I'll just continue to work with the Carytown Merchants Association since I kind of know where they're headed.
Wise decision.
Thank you.
Any other comment about this from council members? Seeing none, call the question, Madam Clerk, please.
Council is voting on item number 19, ordinance number 2013-76. Mr. Beliles? Aye. Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill? Aye. President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you very much. Next, I guess next and last. No, that's it for the regular agenda, isn't it, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Very good. At this point, may we please then move on to any papers to amend and continue?
We have no papers to be amended and continued this evening.
That being the situation, may we please call the list of speakers for public comments?
Yes, tonight's speaker is Chris Dorsey.
Mr. Dorsey.
My name is Chris Dorsey. When I was asked what the subject of my comment, citizen comment would be, we settled on constitutional rights, but basically it's more like their constitutional guarantees. That's the way the law is set up. So I'm going to begin by reading from the law, and I saw everyone in this chamber swearing on this book, the Bible, that they would uphold the Virginia and United States Constitution. So I will begin by reading from the Virginia Constitution. And this is the Virginia Declaration of Rights, Article 1 of Virginia Constitution. And I'll begin with Section 2, just because of limited time. That all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people, that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. There's not anyone I know that I can have a serious conversation with that thinks that any branch of the government is amenable to the people and serves anything but the moneyed interest that control the government. In Section 1, it says that all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life, liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. Again, that's just restating that the government has no authority to take away what has been given naturally by the Creator. That's what the law, the Virginia Constitution says. That's what this Constitution says. This is the U.S. Constitution. You swear and oath to uphold that as well. So now we can get into what really controls the government. And I will begin by reading Article 1, Section 8, and that's the operative enumerated powers of Congress. Congress has the power to collect and lay taxes, borrow money on the credit of the United States, and here's one of the most important, to coin money, regulate the value thereof.
You have 30 seconds, please.
What we have now is, that seems like a quick 3 minutes, but what we have now is a private central bank that controls everything that the government does. That's known as the Federal Reserve Bank. That's a private institution. It has nothing to do with the functions of the U.S. government. It dictates and is the monetary source of the U.S. government. And that is controlled by something called the Bank for International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland. And it controls every central bank from the People's Bank of China to the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm going to finish. And, Mr. Dorsey, and the Bank of Russia.
Summarize, please.
I definitely will summarize. In summary, this body of government and the federal government, the city government, and the state government, because of their financial source, has no real legitimacy, and that is one way the Constitution has been suspended. I will say that all one has to do is do a Google search for international banking cartel, and they will find myself and smarter people than I explaining in great detail how you all commit treason by serving not the Constitution, but a private central bank. And I would challenge anyone to have the guts to answer any of these accusations. Thank you, Chuck.
That concludes our public speakers for this evening. At this point, we will move forward to the consent agenda.
The consent agenda items for this evening are as follows. Item 4, ordinance number 2013-44, to amend city code to remove parking in front of a ramp leading to the crosswalk constructed for the use of handicapped person from the list of offenses subject to a fine of $40. Item 5, ordinance number 2013-45, to amend city code for the purpose of providing for the conduct of criminal history and the other background check for applicants, employees, and volunteers in certain positions. Item 6, ordinance number 2013-46, to amend pay plan to modify the general pay range for food service manager, juvenile home registered nurse, and detention home
Superintendent. The consent agenda is before you.
Thank you very much. Are there those in the audience that wish to speak in favor or opposition to any of these papers?
Ulysses Brown, 8th District. The proper way to address the city council members is to use the term honorable. And honorable is a term that I intend to use. But when and then honorable embodies this feeling of trust. And when voters vote for you and you take actions and you have people that stand up and support a cause that you have championed, and then there is an ordinance, and I'm speaking in terms of 2013-45. Last week, there was a vote for Ban-the-Box, which many that spoke for Ban-the-Box, in support of Ban-the-Box amendment, seemed to feel that it would open up opportunities for ex-felons to enter into the workplace, to have more opportunities to seek employment and have more of a leveled playing field. Now this ordinance comes out of the committee, the General Operations Committee, where there were deliberations in that committee that seemed to have an understanding that many that spoke in favor of Ban-the-Box seemed to understand that it would, in fact, open up opportunities and equalize the playing field. The Anti-Poverty Commission's report, one of the things that they addressed in that report was that to encourage folks and to find ways that ex-felons could enter into the workplace and have, more opportunities. This ordinance right here seems to be inconsistent with the Ban-the-Box vote that was taken last week. I do not understand why the administration seems that there's a rush all of a sudden to pass this, for you guys to pass this without further deliberation in this body. So far, whatever has been working seems to be working. This one goes above and beyond what was already in place. It requires fingerprinting, additional FBI stuff. The Department of Human Resources is going to have an FBI link into their office. They've already put it in their budget. I think the budget that they've already approved, $40,000, which seems to indicate that they expect you guys to rubber stamp this, like what you guys were expected to do at the special meeting last week, when you had to rubber stamp something that was already essentially passed by the administration, expecting you guys to vote in approval. I'm going to wrap up by saying, please consider language that perhaps could amend this paper to study the effects if it does go and revisit it next year or something like that. Thank you. I have placed one of these on each of your desks also. It's titled Ordinance 2013-45 for you to consider.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Persinger.
Good evening. My name is Silver Persinger. I have an issue with the same paper, 2003-45. The summary here says to amend and reordain city code by adding therein a new section concerning background checks for the purpose of providing for the conduct of criminal history and other background checks for applicants and employees and volunteers in certain positions. In reality, when you look at the paper, it's actually all positions. This paper authorizes background checks for all positions. I'll read from the paper in part. It is the intent of the City Council in adopting this section to enable the Chief Administrative Officer and the Director of Human Resources in the interest of public welfare and safety. That's how a lot of miserable things are passed legally, by claiming public safety and welfare, to require fingerprinting and to access state and national criminal history record information regarding applicants for certain positions, employees in certain positions, and volunteers as set forth in this section. And when you read further on, it says the Director of Human Resources shall determine type and scope of the criminal history record checks and any other background checks required for the affected positions. The HR department shall require a criminal history record information investigation on all applicants to police and fire and emergency services. That's fine. In addition to that subsection, HR resources shall require a criminal history record information investigation for finalists identified in personnel selection and placement process for all applicants, including volunteers, in all departments that report to CAO, all departments that report to the City Council, and all other departments that utilize the city's recruitment and payroll services. All your employees use the payroll services. This is also it does include accessing the cities or the state law enforcement and the FBI. To me, it seems like it's a blanket permission for background checks on all city employees. Previously, the city did not do these investigations on city employees if it weren't specifically required. You know, some departments are specifically required.
Seconds, please begin.
The police, the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, the Circuit Court of the City, the Adult Drug Court, Sheriff's Office, Office of the Treasurer. To me, this seems to go against the whole thing of banning the box, that you are now expanding the police investigation ability to look at city staff, and also current staff should be aware that if you're up for a promotion or demotion or lateral transfer, you will likely have a criminal investigation done on you. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I'm in opposition to this, and you should be too. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Persinger.
I'd like to thank, my name's Chris Dorsey. I'd like to thank Mr. Persinger for bringing up some important points. This seems to violate Amendment 4 of U.S. Constitution, and is it Section 6? Yep, Section 6 of Declaration of Rights of Virginia Constitution. I will say this, that the banning of the box, that was just passed, that was at the last meeting, and now this seems to contradict everything and go a step farther in the wrong direction from what was passed last week, in kind of a publicity media stunt. But what I will say is, I know, and many people who really pay attention to government know, who the real criminals are. And I think that instead of the government watching all over and getting into the people's business, I think the people need to take a look and start doing criminal background checks and enforcing the Constitution on people like you sitting up here who violate our founding document and make a mockery out of our government and our society. Thank you very much.
Anyone else to speak in favor of support or anything on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for any discussion. Ms. Mosby?
I'd like to talk about the paper, what is it? The 2013-45. When I brought Ban the Box to administration, they were already in the process of doing the background check information. That was already something that the attorney and I discussed. They were already in that process. However, my paperwork was pushed, Ban the Box was pushed. They pushed it fast for me because I wanted something to get done for the people. There is nothing in Ban the Box that says that background checks won't be done. That's not what Ban the Box was about. Ban the Box was about allowing you to not check that box and then go into the interview process, and at that point, a background check can be done. So I'm not really understanding why we're having a moment about background checks when it didn't remove a background check from the start. It removed the box so that you could get in the door to the background check, if at all possible. Because before that, you weren't even getting to that place where your background was checked. We didn't care what your background was, it looked like. We were just looking at the box, as you would say, and that's as far as you got. However, if you now get to the interview process and your background has nothing to do with what's going on with that job, it still allows you to have a chit-chat with the interviewer and get the job. So background checks were never supposed to be eliminated. That was not what Ban the Box. When you read about Ban the Box, that's not what it's about. It's about you being able to get to that place, not check that box, have your time with the interviewer, and then at that point, if you wow the interviewer and they want to hire you, your background could be checked. That's what Ban the Box is about.
Thank you, Ms. Mosby. Anybody else wish to speak on any paper in the consent agenda? On the consent agenda?
Mr. President.
Mr. Agelasto.
I just want to make sure, because sometimes when we read these little snippets about what the ordinances are, you got to go to the meat of the paper to see things. I want to make sure that my colleagues are familiar that ordinance number 2013-44 will up the fine for blocking in front of a crosswalk, handicap cut, from $40 to $200. Just want to make sure everybody's clear on that since it's not well-defined in these short headers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Call the question, Madam Clerk, please.
Council has voted on the consent agenda, which consists of items 4 through 6. Mr. Bliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Aye. Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agalesto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell? Aye. Dr. Newbill? Aye. Mr. President?
Aye.
Those items has been adopted.
Thank you very much. At this point, that ends the consent agenda. Any expedited resolutions?
No, we have no
Left.
expedited resolutions for consideration.
Approval of the minutes, please.
The minutes to be approved for this evening are from Monday's March 25th, informal and formal session of council. Ms. Trammell, will you make that motion for the approval of the minutes?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
You are now voting on Ms. Trammell's motion to approve the minutes as read. Mr. Bliles? Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Dr. Newbill?
Aye.
And President Samuels?
Aye.
Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you very much. At this point, reports and announcements. I believe last time I went to Mr. Beliles first. So, Dr. Newbill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of really quick things. First, I'd like to just let the citizens know that we have a temporary location for our East End Library while it is being renovated. That location is 3100 9 Mile Road. The temporary location is open from 9 to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The types of services that citizens will be able to receive and access are as follows: job search assistance, filing of unemployment claims, establishing email accounts, sending faxes, copying documents, lending books and DVDs, all at that location. So again, while our library at 1200 North 25th Street is being renovated, we do have a temporary location for the East End Library at 3100 9 Mile Road, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. And the types of services you were able to access are a little more limited, but certainly still very much available. There are 18 computers in that location, so there's not, there's not limitation there. And as I said, the variety of other services you're able to access. We wanted to ensure, both the library board and staff, that those services continue to be easily accessible even during this renovation period. So I thank all of the library staff, the volunteers who worked diligently to ensure that we had a temporary location while our renovation is underway. Again, that's 3100 9 Mile Road from 9 till 5 on Monday through Saturday. Second, I'd like to announce that we'll have our first district-wide cleanup on Saturday, May 4th from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. And this is the very first district-wide cleanup. And if you have some of the following. Number one, if you have bulk trash that you'd like to have picked up, We'll need to have you place those items in the rear alley like your normal trash pickup. And then please call 646-3012 and let us know that you have placed bulk trash in the alley to be picked up. Please get your neighbors out to assist, as we have some neighbors who want to have items removed or assistance with having items removed, and we really do want to make this the kind of cleanup that is all engaging. So if you'd like to volunteer, please meet me at the corner of 24th and Fairmount at 7:30 a.m. on May 4th, Saturday, or call the office 646-3012. Again, this is our very first cleanup for the year, and that's Saturday, May 4th at 8 a.m. But those of you who want to volunteer with me, meet me again at 24th and Fairmount. Wear your jeans, bring your gloves. We're going to dig in and work to begin to do a little spring cleaning, I think we call it. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Ms. Trammell.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just started our 8th District meetings back. It's going to be next Thursday, April the 18th, at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Satellite Restaurant Lounge, 4000 Block of Jefferson Davis. Our guest speakers will be Mr. Marshall, who's our CAO. He's going to be talking about the budget and about different things in the 8th District. Also, our school board member, Mr. Derek Jones, 8th District School Board member, he will be attending our meeting. Mr. Bob Seidel, Director of Public Utilities, will be there. And also our police chief is going to be at our meeting to talk about the crime and different things in the 8th District. Also, our Captain Civil Alameen will be there from 1st Precinct and Captain Harvey Powers from 2nd. And also there will be other members of the Richmond Police Department to speak to us about issues in the 8th District. If you have any questions, you can call my home. My home number is 233-7382. Again, my home number is 233-7382. My personal cell is 240-5050. Again, our 8th District meetings start back next Thursday, April the 18th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Satellite Restaurant Lounge, and everyone is invited to attend. Also, Monday, April the 15th, is our public safety meeting at 5 p.m. Is that correct? Do we still have a budget meeting that day?
We should still have a budget meeting that day. The Chief of Staff is nodding that that has not changed.
Okay. Thank you. And we will have the public safety meeting at the Police Academy at 5 p.m. Is that correct?
We should be finished by then. I mean, if we're not, heaven help us all.
And everyone is welcome to attend the public safety meeting. This right here is your free smoke alarm. If you call 646-1526, 646-1526, the firefighters will come to your house. They will install a smoke alarm for free. If it needs a battery, they will also install the battery for you. Not our police officers, not animal control, just the fire department. Because people have asked me, will the police department, will they come out? No, they will not come out and give you a smoke alarm, only the firefighters. So please give them a call, or either you can stop by your nearest fire station and set up an appointment for them to come to your home or to your apartment or to your business and give you put up a free smoke alarm for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next Wednesday, April the 17th at 5 o'clock here in Council Chambers, we'll be having the next meeting of the Education and Human Services Standing Committee. Mr. Jeff Bourne, the chairman of the school board, will be on hand, and as well as some other members of the board. We'll be having a presentation on the update on the priorities of the school board and upcoming initiatives. We'll also have an update on the IB program and the middle school expansion of the IB program. We will also look at improving computer access for students of Richmond Public Schools, as well as an update on truancy to make sure we will have an open discussion as far as what we can do to make sure that we increase attendance at public schools and to hold everyone, both the students and their parents, accountable for mandatory and compulsory attendance of public school. and we want to invite everyone to come out to join that discussion. Mr. President, I want to thank you for coming out to the 3rd District meeting last month. Really had a good turnout, and we appreciate your input. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. My friend in the 5th, Mr. Agelasto.
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to thank my colleagues tonight for working with me in developing some dialogue, compromise. Clearly, we have different issues in our different districts, and sometimes it's valuable to have those conversations so that we can understand where we each are coming from and what the demands on our citizens are. I'd like to begin my announcements simply by saying April the 24th at 6:30 p.m. at Benford Middle School will be our 5th District meeting, so I invite everybody to come 6:30 p.m. April 24th to Benford Middle School to come. We'll be introducing Police Chief Taraskovich to you, and we'll be discussing other items important to you. Continuing announcements. Tomorrow evening is the Carillon Civic Association's annual meeting. It is at 6 p.m. at the Byrd Park Roundhouse, and they are honored by the presence of former Governor Linwood Holton. Also this week, April the 11th, Thursday, is the first day to sign up for kindergarten in the Richmond Public Schools. Any child who will be 5 by September 30th, this is your opportunity to register your children. Also on Thursday, April the 11th, CAPS, Richmond Police, will also hold their meeting at Albert Hill Middle School, which is located at 3400 Patterson Avenue. If you've got issues for the 3rd Precinct, please bring them and address them with CAPS and Richmond Police. Thursday, April the 11th at 6 p.m., Albert Hill Middle School. Also on Thursday, our neighbors at Ephesus Junior Academy, which is located at 3700 Midlothian Turnpike, will be holding a career and college fair for students. That's from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And there will be 28 companies attending who will talk to about 150 K through 12 private, home, and public school students about career and college options. If you're interested, that again is this Thursday, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Ephesus Junior Academy. Contact Penny McPherson, 804-240-1374. This weekend is a big weekend in Richmond. It's the Monument Avenue 10K, so I'll be out there racing. I hope to see all of my fellow council members either racing with me or at least being a spectator on the side of the street and cheering me on. Thank you. The William Byrd Terrace Association is also hosting their alley cleanup. That will be April 13th this Saturday. And the Spring Hill neighborhood is completing our work sessions with the Storefront for Community Design. That will be at 10 a.m. at the Storefront for Community Design office space at 205 East Broad Street. And I encourage anybody in Spring Hill who's not had the opportunity to participate to please come, because this is a great opportunity to have your voice heard. Finally, I'll try to wrap this up fairly quickly. Byrd Park Neighborhood Association is meeting Tuesday, April the 16th at 7 p.m. at the Byrd Park Roundhouse. And then we will be hosting our first neighborhood cleanup for the 5th District. That will be Saturday, April the 20th. And we're going to be meeting at the Visual Arts Center of Richmond, located at 1821 West Main Street at 9 a.m. And we will be scattered about through Uptown and the Boulevard area, cleaning up from VCU to the Boulevard. And we'd love for as many neighborhood volunteers to come and assist with this. We will be doing bulk trash removal. So if you have any items that need special attention, please put them out the day prior to Saturday, April 20th, and let us know of the specific addresses where bulk trash, appliances, or tires need to be picked up. You can contact us via email. My email is parker.agelasto@richmondgov.com, or Ida Jones, and hers is ida.i.jones@richmondgov.com, or by calling 646-5724 or 646-6050. And lastly, April 27th, Comcast is coming to Byrd Park for their annual Comcast Cares Day, and we're expecting about 500 volunteers to come out and help to clean up Byrd Park. We've got painting and power washing. We've got the Richmond Tennis Association coming to do repairs to the tennis courts. It's a real exciting opportunity, and I'm very thankful to the 5th District representative to the Parks and Recs Board, Michael Dodson, for bringing this opportunity. That concludes my announcements. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Agelasto. Ms. Mosby.
Thank you. I would like to thank the churches of the 9th District, MAABC, A New You, A New Chance, Future Hope, Holiness, and Apostolic Church of Jesus Christ for partnering with me in our 9th District Easter celebration on Monday, April 1st. Many of the 9th District constituents donated their time and their talent to make that celebration a success. We had 225 children, and that was the first of our many district gatherings. So once again, I want to thank everybody that donated their time. I really, really appreciate it. The Midlothian Community Meeting will be held tomorrow, March 9th, at the Southside Community Center in Southside Plaza at 6 p.m. So we're asking those people that should attend that to please be there. And the 9th District meeting will be held on Thursday, April 18th, between 6 and 8 p.m. at Miles Jones Elementary, and that's at 200 Beaufort Hills Drive. And I need you there. Your voices matter. You have to be there. Just like tonight, you have to be there so that you can be heard. So please come to the meeting. It's at 6 o'clock on Thursday, April 18th. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Mosby. Ms. Graziano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow night is the Oxford annual meeting, and that will be at St. Luke's Church at 7. On Wednesday, the Forest Hill Civic Association will meet at 7 o'clock at Forest Hill Presbyterian. And on Thursday, Westover Hills board meeting will occur at 7 at the Westover Hills Methodist Church. And finance will be on Thursday, April 18th at 2 o'clock. And I'll have my annual meeting on Tuesday, April 30th. And also the police chief is coming to that meeting, and we'll have someone there from water rates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blouses is shaking his head. Vice President Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few meetings that are coming up in the 6th District that I'd like to make notice of. On April the 9th, which is tomorrow, I think, the Health Resource Center is being open at the Hillside Court community tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. There will be a reception and a health fair, and we want all of the residents in the Hillside Court community, as well as anyone within the neighborhood that would like to come. It's open to anyone that would like to come, but we specifically want to extend this invitation to the community to have an opportunity to visit the resource center and acquaint themselves with the health services and other services that will be provided out of that center. That's tomorrow, April the 9th, at 1:30 at the community center in Hillside Court. On April the 13th, which is Saturday, I will be having my regular town meeting from 10 to 12. It will be at the Oak Grove Bellmead School. We'll also be doing a tour of the school for the community. And we will have the representatives from the Richmond Realtors Association to speak with the residents in regards to the values of homes in the neighborhood and initiatives that we are pursuing to increase home ownership opportunities, as well as to address the blighted houses in the community for the purpose of promoting more families to move into the community and take advantage of this new school and the new opportunities that we have with the rec center there. And so we would encourage any of the residents that live in that community, especially those families that have children that are going to Oak Grove Bellmead School, to join us on Saturday morning from 10 to 12, April the 13th. On April the 13th, that afternoon, we'll be crossing back over the river in the 6th District and going to Ann Hardy Park, where there is a Highland Park Spring Festival being held. There's been a concerted effort on the part of nonprofits, the faith community, and civic associations and leaders to form a collaborative organization for the purpose of leveraging resources. And so they're having a spring festival to celebrate some of the wonderful work that has been done in the community and working in partnership with our police department, especially to reduce crime in the neighborhood. And so this is an opportunity for those residents to come together and have a celebration. That event will start at 1 o'clock on Saturday the 13th at Ann Hardy Park, which is at 3300 First Avenue. On April the 17th, there will be a meeting at the Senior High Rise building on 4th Avenue in Southern Highland Park for the purpose of continuing our discussion about what's taking place with the new Highland Grove development. The houses are coming up. They are already accepting applications. We want to further the discussion with schools as it relates to the new school that is being built in the community, as well as representatives from Storefront will be there to talk about the redevelopment of the Gateway and the properties that are located on First Avenue, which is right adjacent to the new Highland Grove community. On April the 25th, we will be having our first meeting of the advisory board of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That meeting will start at 8 o'clock. It will be held at the Convention Center for all of the members of the board and any other citizens that would want to just sit in and be a part of that discussion. We will have a national representative that will be there to share trends. The City Planning and Economic Development Office will be there to talk about the demand for affordable housing in the city of Richmond. And we hope to make contact with VHDA and have someone from VHDA to talk to us about the state Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That meeting will start at 8 o'clock and will conclude at 11, and it'll be at the Convention Center, and parking is available in the Convention Center lot at no charge. On April the 27th, we will be having the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Bellmead Community Center. That ribbon cutting ceremony starts at 10 o'clock, and we are encouraging the community to come out. We have an indoor pool now. We have a healthcare center as a part of this center as well. And there's a state-of-the-art gym that is a part of the center. There is a gymnasium that is there, and lots of other services that are available. So we want to invite the residents to come out on Saturday, April the 27th at 10 o'clock. And those are my announcements. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Robertson. As becoming the trend during my time here in this seat, is there anybody that forgot anything? Ms. Trammell.
Thank you. Mr. President, could you ask Vice President to repeat all that?
That sounds like one of my tricks.
That's okay. I'm taping it. I'm taping it at home. That's okay. Mr. President, I forgot to let everybody know that our Sheriff, C.T. Woody, will also be attending our meeting on April the 18th, next Thursday. I'd gotten an email, and he's going to be attending our meeting. And also, I'd like to thank my Vice Chair, Dr. Newbell, for all of her help with the public safety meeting, and my staff, because she helps me a lot when we're sitting there with different things. And I just want to, thank her, because I know last 2 weeks ago I forgot to thank her. But anyway, I appreciate that. I appreciate all your help, and I appreciate my colleagues for helping me with the public safety meetings.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell.
Thank you.
All right, well, that just leaves me. I'm going to keep this somewhat short, but the first thing I want to say is somewhat serious. Today is Holocaust Remembrance Day, and it comes close to coinciding with the 70th anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Two incredible stories that for some of us were a lifetime ago, for some of us we just read about in history books. But both go to show man's amazing ability not only for evil, but the fact that his ability for good can supersede his ability for evil. And I'd like to take a moment of silence in remembrance of those two events. Thank you. On a significantly lighter note, there are some exciting things going on in the 2nd District. First and foremost, on April 21st from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Rosedale, they will have their annual spring garden tour. It is self-guided. You can pick up your tour maps and your bottled water at Christ Ascension Episcopal Church, which is 1804 West Laburnum. You can enjoy this free self-guided walking tour. This is going to go on rain or shine. There's a potluck supper afterwards at Christ Ascension. There's the opportunity for door prizes and, of course, learning some gardening tips from your neighbors and guest speakers. If you have any questions or issues about it, you can always go to rosedalecivicassociation.org or call Liz at 340-1030, or you can contact me and I'll put you in touch with the right people. Not to be outdone, a few days later, on April 24th, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Historic Garden Week, Virginia Historic Garden Week, will include Laburnum Park. And there's a list of approximately 8 houses in Laburnum Park that will be part of that tour. For more information, you can, of course, always Google Historic Garden Week or contact me and I'll pass on the information to you. And lastly, the Flying Squirrels opening, second to lastly, the Flying Squirrels opening season game was this past week. It was 48 degrees, it was sleeting, and they had sold out, which is absolutely incredible. They had to postpone the game to start it the next day due to the weather. But I think it says something about this region's love of their flying squirrels. And I'm excited for what they've done, but I want to remind folks, fireworks will occur more than 20 times after baseball games this season. And inevitably, that comes as a surprise at some point to someone. So I'm going to try to remember to make a more regular mention of the fact that there are fireworks going to happen multiple times throughout the spring and summer. I want to make sure people are aware of that. And lastly, Mr. Agelasto, I will be there for the Monument Avenue 10K. I've actually been asked to be the official starter for that race, so I get to beg off from actually running in it, thankfully. And am excited about that. My time with the 10K lasted only a few seasons before I injured myself, but I am proud to say I ran in the first 4 or 5 of those before it got too hard on my knees. Those were my announcements for tonight. I want to thank everybody who was willing to wait out the entirety of this meeting. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Mr. Stith. That being said, Madam Clerk, may we please have the introduction of new papers?
Yes, Mr. President. The introduction papers are as follows. Ordinance number 2013-78, and that's to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of 611 Gordon Street for the purpose of establishing a new park named Historic Fulton Monument Park. Planning Commission, April 15th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-79, and that's to authorize the CAO to accept $723,226 for the purpose of the acquisition and rehabilitation and sales of foreclosed properties through the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, April 16th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-80, and that's to authorize the special use of 2501 Monument Avenue for the purpose of a museum for architectural and design and a lodging unit. Planning Commission, May 6th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, May 13th. Ordinance number 2013-81, and that's to amend city code concerning residential district parking districts for the purpose of replacing references to the Director of Finance with references to the Director of Public Works. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date for April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-82, and that's to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year 2013 to transfer $203,000 to Cultural Works for the purpose of revitalizing the Broad Street corridor and improving the art and cultural district. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-83, and that's to amend city code for the purpose of providing that no business license shall be issued until all delinquent taxes owed by the business to the city has been paid. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-84 to amend city code for the purposes of making it unlawful to park a motorcycle attached to a tree in city-owned property and to attach any moped to a tree, post, sign, or other property on city-owned property. Public safety, April 15th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-85 to repeal city code for the purpose of removing registration requirements for bicycles. Public safety, April 15th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-86 to amend city code for the purpose of refining the word temporary on which the CAO assigns an employee to perform the duties in another department. Governmental Operations, April 25th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, May 13th. Ordinance number 2013-87, and that's to authorize the special use of 3408 and 3412 West Moore Street for the purpose of permitting multifamily dwellings containing up to 94 dwelling units. Planning Commission, May 6th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, May 13th. Ordinance number 2013-88, and that's to amend city code for the purposes of removing references to the registration of bicycles and making it unlawful for any person to attach a bicycle to a tree, post, sign, or other property on city-owned properties. Public safety, April 15th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-89, and that's to exempt 1021 Oliver Hill Way from real property taxation for the tax year beginning January 1, 2013, and all subsequent tax years contingent on the continued use of the property by Richmond Community Action Program. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-90 to exempt 1103 Oliver Hill Way for the real property taxation for the tax year beginning January 1, 2013, and all subsequent tax years contingent upon the continued use of the property by the Richmond Community Action Program. Finance, April 18th at 2:32 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-91, and that's to exempt 2190 Alden Errol Lane from real property taxation beginning February 14, 2013, and for all subsequent tax years contingent on the continued use of the property by Endowment Fund of the Memorial Child Guidance Clinic, Incorporated. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-92 to exempt 2325 West Broad Street from the real property taxation for the tax year beginning January 1, 2013, and all subsequent tax years, continued on the continued use of the property by Family Lifeline. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-93 to exempt 2911 Grove Avenue from real property taxation for the tax year beginning January 1, 2013, and all subsequent tax years contingent on the continued use of the property by Virginia Museum of Fine Arts Foundation. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-94 to exempt 201 North Boulevard from the real property taxation for the tax year beginning January 1, 2013, and all subsequent tax years contingent on the continued use of the property by Virginia Museum Real Estate Foundation. Finance, April 18th at 2 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Ordinance number 2013-94, and that's to amend the special use of 1714 Summit Avenue for the purpose of authorizing the reconfiguration and the addition of parking areas on the property. Planning Commission, May 6th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, May 13th. Resolution number 2013 R103, and that's to approve $1,334.46 to pay for the printing and mailing of newsletters to the 2nd District. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Resolution number 2013 R104 to encourage citizens of the city to register their bicycles with the National Bike Register. Public Safety, April 15th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Resolution number 2013 R105, and that's to amend Resolution number 2013 R2-2 for the purpose of appointing a city council member to serve on the Sister City Commission and to remove the council member serving as an alternate on the board of the Richmond Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Governmental Operations, April 25th. Council public hearing date, May 13th. Resolution number 2013 R106, and that's to declare a public necessity to amend the zoning ordinance and to initiate an amendment to the city zoning ordinance to make changes to rezoning real property located around Brooklyn Park Boulevard, and to study and to request that the CAO to study all real properties within such area. Land Use and Housing and Transportation, April 16th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, April 22nd. Mr. President, that concludes the reading of this evening's introduction papers.
Thank you very much. Provided there's no other business from fellow council members, this meeting is adjourned.
Well, 3 hours, 20 minutes from the time we started till the time we are finished for tonight. Could have been a longer meeting, but we did not get the turnout for the budget papers that we thought was going to happen. Got started right at 6 o'clock. Had the appointments, reappointments, awards, presentations, agenda review. Then at 6:43, the 24 budget papers were introduced. And that was followed by the public hearing, started about 5 minutes of 7. And that only ran about 45 minutes, all told. 19 people spoke. And roughly, fire and police pay was one item spoken about most. So 7 people spoke to that. 5 about the water sewer rates. 2 talked about schools. The longest speech was 2 minutes, 59 seconds, shortest 42 seconds. And so 45 minutes total. Now, those papers were continued until our next meeting. Then we got to the regular agenda, and one item requiring curbside, the curbside wheels on your car being no more than 18 inches from the curb. That took about 10 minutes, and finally was approved by an 8-1 vote, the one dissenting vote coming from Councilmember Trammell. Then we got to the chickens. Paper would allow up to 4 chickens. This would adjust the zoning code to match the paper that passed earlier. And we had as many people speaking on this paper as we did on the budget. We had a total of 19 people. We had 2 speaking against it, 16 speaking in favor, and 1, I'm not quite sure which side of the fence, but anyhow, it was 32 minutes by the time they got done, and it was approved by a 9-0 vote. Then we got to one paper only took 5 minutes. That was purchasing the public parking decks down in Carytown from RMA by the city. Approved unanimously. Only one comment, only one citizen's comment. And then the consent agenda took 15 minutes before that was passed unanimously. Then we got the reports from council, introduction of papers, and now we are adjourned for 2 weeks. So don't forget, tonight is the NCAA championship coming up. It'll be Richmond, former University of Richmond coach John Beeline going up against the University of Louisville. But it's also springtime. Get out there and enjoy the springtime. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. For Gavel to Gavel, I'm Dick Harmon saying good night.